Hello, everyone. What is going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome to the first official episode, I guess episode 1, of the TNT podcast, where we make things go boom. Haha.
Boom with laughter.
That was amazing.
I feel like I couldn't leave you alone.
We dropped the mic so hard that it was... Anyway.
It exploded.
All right, so, as usual... my name is Timpedia. I run the YouTube channel that this is probably being watched on. We also didn't put this anywhere else because we all forgot. So you know what? It's available on YouTube and downloaded from my OneDrive. It's not available on any other podcast service right now.
It's exclusively available.
Exclusively to my YouTube channel.
We're getting those YouTube. We're doing all that stuff for YouTube. They better be thankful, right?
Freeman, tell us, give us your little intro.
What?
We did this last week.
Dude.
Remember, you got to introduce yourself. I'm Tim.
Oh, sorry. I'm Andrew, otherwise known as Friedman.
Yeah, there you go.
The weed guy.
The weed guy. There you go.
Guy.
Perfect.
And I'm Tyler. Just this guy, you know. In case you guys have read those books.
Oh God. Anyway.
See,
we gotta work on these intros for next week.
No, Freeman. The point of this is because you got to treat every podcast like someone just picked it up.
Like it's brand new. We got a bunch of new viewers. All right. Well, it's nice to meet everyone who's listening tonight.
Right.
They gotta
know.
They got to know the widespread of our voices. Plus, if we have
they gotta
guests
understand
on,
who's
get even
who
more
and what's what.
confusing.
Very true.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Why don't we go into the first topic?
First topic?
Yeah.
First
go ahead,
topic.
Tyler.
Yeah, let's do it.
Game of Thrones.
Oh,
released this week, or was it last week, that they're in the makings, or at least thinking about doing spin-off shows.
Well, let's excuse me,
First
our frame of time is since the last podcast.
Yeah, since the last podcast, this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing happened. Actually, a couple things happened since then, obviously, that we'll be updating everybody on. But one of the main things that I personally care about is Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Yes.
So there were 4 spin-offs announced at various stages of production, but whether or not that all get made is up in the air. And
wait, did they announce it's specific character spin-offs?
Nope.
No,
they just said 4.
There's 4
you don't know.
spin-off projects in production.
There are just 4, and you don't know. But we do know that George R. R. Martin, right, as most of you probably already know, is the writer and creator of the original A Song of Ice and Fire series franchise. He'll be leading or having writer's credits on a few of these shows.
Oh man, I didn't know that he wrote those books.
Did he write that book?
Cow.
Tyler, but what is the book that maybe that series is from? Because some people might not know A Song of Ice and Fire.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Oh wow, I didn't
Game
know
of
he wrote that
Thrones.
book.
Yeah, he wrote Game of Thrones forever ago.
I mean, this is cool, but I mean,
he still hasn't written like the last book of the series. I don't even know if it's the last one. The next book of the series he hasn't written.
Yeah.
Now it's never coming out. If he's going to be co-writing 4 series,
that's what Tyler was saying before the podcast. Like, how is he? And you also said he's writing a short story that's coming out this year.
Jeez.
Yes.
Yeah, like what, dude? Write the last book. But then my response to that was, why does he have to?
I got people keep making jokes that he's going to die before he finishes it, so he just stops working.
This
on
has
it
been said for years, and I don't think it's really a joke anymore. It's a legitimate fear.
He gets
really
mad
is
when
a
people
meme.
say it, but like for real, get back to work.
Like, and he's also not
real,
like
dude,
the most healthiest of guys. And like, I don't know. Like, I know, Tim, you said you read the books.
Yep.
Right.
And took me months.
Took you months. And then, but you finally get here, right? Like me and like other people, and it's just like, well, we just kind of want this. But now it's almost to the point where it feels like he's not really working on it anymore. Or at least it doesn't. I don't feel like it. That's the vibe I get, and I'm not really a fan of that. Especially since we get like all the background stuff that some of the show hasn't really covered until they started doing these flashbacks in the last season.
Yeah.
Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the show.
I don't think it's a spoiler.
It's not spoilers to tell them that the
flashbacks.
show has run past the books.
I think it's amazing to think that any show doesn't have flashbacks.
Well, flashbacks and going past the books. Like the show is currently past the books, which I felt was weird. Like that's something I never really fathomed would happen until last season. and now they're past it.
That's what happens when he takes forever.
That's what happens when he takes forever. And I get the feeling, I haven't read any, and this is my own personal opinion, right? I haven't read any or seen any interviews with him, but it almost feels like he's getting a second shot at writing his story, right? And he wants the show to be his second shot.
What do you mean?
Like, you know, like
he's
it's
using
like,
feedback from this show to figure out how he wants to do the books. That way, he
yeah,
can make the
like
book
it's
the best
almost
it could
like
be.
he wrote the books and he like wasn't completely 100% with what he wrote, especially based on the feedback, right? And then he has this opportunity to do the show. He has like the opportunity to rewrite the show, not just for his loyal audience, but now he has a broader spectrum of audience that he has to like cater to. And yeah, I feel like not only is his writing going to change if he continues to write, but maybe he might be more focused on the show because he feels the show is actually his child now, not the book series.
I mean, I guess, but he did create it. I mean, how many, like 20 years ago almost? And
yeah,
It's been a while.
And it's not like he's like with the books, he's basically alone except for an editor. Whereas with the show,
he has a whole team of people.
Even the creators probably don't have that much direct control.
Yeah, I know
there's
a group of writers, essentially. It goes past everyone. As opposed to with the books, he has free reign to do what he wants.
Yeah, the main producers, though, rumors say that they know how the story's supposed to end. Supposedly.
Okay, so
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Val told me that this again is probably a rumor, but she said when they first started, he asked the two of them how they thought that the show was going to end, and they had to guess correctly for him to let them work on it, and they apparently did. I don't know if that's true. That could just be like a folklore practically at this point, but that's what I remember her saying.
It might just be a rumor. The version I heard was that he asked the producers how they thought it would end, and he said, you guys got it pretty close.
Oh.
Based on their guess. But
regardless, they got the job, and they've done... I mean, the show's really good. We're all hyped for the next season.
Very excited.
Very successful show. Also hype. And like I said, I don't know if I've said it to you guys, but the show... and some of its key plot points, regardless of how much information it should have shared or not, they improved some scenes in the show that I thought, compared to the book, I thought they were better, yeah. Like the Brienne and Hound encounter, which was never in the book, but it was beautifully done.
No, I think a lot of the changes that the show has made have been mostly good.
Yeah, so it's nothing
There's
I really
complain about.
There's
a lot of side characters in the book that they try to focus on a lot more that it's just like, geez, dude, come on.
Well, you mean in the books versus the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, that's why Feast for Crows, that's why that book happened. He made too many characters, and he's like, oh, shit, I gotta write another book.
Oh, yeah, so I'll write a companion.
Just to accommodate.
Yeah, Freeman, two of the books take place at the same time.
Oh,
because
dude,
he was like,
good.
"There's too many side
too much
stories.
Stuff going on.
I'm bouncing around too much. I gotta shift one whole book worth of stories. Like, I think it's like basically one book takes place following Cersei around and King's Landing and stuff, and then the other one takes place in the north.
Yeah,
kind of is a general stroke.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like you have all the Lannisters plus Brienne, more or less, in Feast, and then you have everyone, like pretty much every other character that like the story focuses around, like Jon or Arya, Daenerys.
I trudged through those books, and I'll probably never read them again.
Wait, what season was that they started covering that book?
Probably like 3.
Oh,
4.
wait, for Feast?
Yeah.
5. It was season 5. Because
whoops.
Each season was one book until it got to Storm. And they had to break that season up into 2, so Storm was... Huh?
That book up into 2.
That book up into... Well, the season... I'm thinking... Because I, think of the seasons as the books.
Yeah.
That's how, my mind goes, and I'm just like, But, yeah. So, they break the book up into 2. Yes. So that became season 3 and 4. And then that's how they continued on from there.
Well, anyway, let's finally move on to a new topic.
Move on.
So Freeman, why don't you explain what happened on Magic: The Gathering Online in our Magic segment?
Oh shit.
As we discussed last week, Wizards announced their Commander ban list for the new Magic: The Gathering Online League Play 1v1. And their ban list had originally been applied that way. It applied for 1v1 Commander as well as multiplayer. But a lot of those decisions were made specifically with 1v1 in mind.
Oh, yeah.
And the community was a little outraged, and it was completely understandable. A lot of people played Commander Online who'd stream. Suddenly they now have to follow this new 1v1 rule set that makes a lot of decks that were in the format kind of, non-existent.
Yeah.
So I think it was 2 or 3 days later, it was right after our podcast, Wizards comes out with this announcement saying that they're rolling out this one list first, but they are planning on rolling out a second list on July 5th that will be multiplayer oriented.
Yeah, they're basically I believe the list that's coming out on Monday, I guess, is not going to include. It's like it'll just cover 1v1, and there won't be a ban list in place for multiplayer. And then,
no, for the rest of the month, everyone's gonna be playing with that one ban list. But
so that is
going
to be
into
in
July,
place for multiplayer.
It will be for a month, but they are kind of deciding what they want to do for the multiplayer list, as well as I'm pretty sure they need to figure out a way to implement a second
weird.
ban list in MTGO, because this is the first time they've really done this.
Well, I mean, I thought the way it was work is it would just continue as it has been with basically no ban list on the multiplayer stuff, or with whatever ban list they had in place. Regardless, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's an easy story. The funniest thing I heard about it, I told you this story earlier, Freeman.
That was a good one.
On the MTG Goldfish podcast, the guy who runs that website, Richard, he said that he had a conspiracy theory where Wizards made the decision to have a shared ban list intentionally because it's so stupid. No one should think of it. No one should be able to convince a whole company it's a good idea, but they did it knowing that the outcry would be for them to split it, and now they have a Magic Online multiplayer-focused ban list that they control, whereas Sheldon Meanery and the Rules Committee, who currently run Commander, kind of don't get to do anything unless Wizards chooses to bring them in on it now.
This might just be a behind-the-scenes power grab by Wizards of the Coast.
To be like, we want to run Commander, son. We've been selling products for this format we don't get to make decisions about for 5 years now. I'm pretty sure it's 5 years, right?
That would be interesting.
That Commander's been a thing?
Yeah, the product.
I think 2013 was when it first came out.
Few?
That was when the first, or no, it was 2012 was when the first pre-con came out, right?
It has to be 12 because there was there's been at least 4 cycles.
Yeah, you're right. 2013 was the Aloro set. It was
this shows
2011.
How lost I am, because I always thought Commander was like a thing, like a format.
No, it was created. So the guy Sheldon Meanery, who I mentioned, him and a bunch of friends who were really high-level judges created the format back in I guess in the 2000s probably, and then in 2012, Wizards decided to sell 5 pre-made Commander decks with new cards built specifically for Commander.
Wow.
And ever since then, it's been insanely popular, and they sell the boxes every year.
Now,
I mean, my other favorite format, Modern, is really not that much older than Commander is. That didn't get officially created till 2012.
Jeez.
I think the year before Modern Masters happened.
I bet you're excited about the SCG Tour this year, Freeman.
Oh, I'm very excited.
Mostly Modern, baby.
Hell yeah.
Hell, there's more.
Never
counting the team events, there's 3 legacy events. That's crazy.
I know. I'm surprised they're doing it.
They're
I guess Standard's just so bad they want to show off the other formats.
Well, I think they also are kind of being like, hey, Wizards wants to partner with Channel Fireball for all this Standard stuff. Well, then we're not going to cover Standard at all, and we'll just cover all the other stuff people care about.
There's market competition within Magic the Gathering.
Let's see. Moving on to keep our Magic segment a lot shorter this week.
Yeah.
Although we're not going to have news for a while until the big 25th anniversary announcement comes out in next month.
Yeah, so we got 4 podcasts with no Magic.
Yeah, that sucks.
Oh,
Man.
so sad. No.
So right after we did the podcast last week, of course, again, because literally any podcast ever has this happen. New Call of Duty game for the year.
New Call of Duty. New Coral on Duty.
Call of Duty.
Coral on Duty.
And we have Call of Duty World War II in what
We're
is...
bringing it back, folks.
So I completely think this is the correct decision. I think that's the stupidest name for a game.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you instantly know what it is.
But that's so lazy.
Like, what era was Call of Duty World at War?
World at War?
It's either World War
II.
I or II.
It's
Yeah,
World War
got
II.
him. You don't
And
know
then
which one it is.
No,
This
it's one
you
or
know.
two. And then
No, it
you
is
guess
2.
two because it's always two back then.
It was
What
2
do we even
with
have
Kiefer
for World War
Sutherland.
One? We have
I
freaking
think, like,
Battlefield
Battlefield.
1. That was it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
and
fine.
Everything before
wasn't
that
them-
game, you never assumed it was World War One. It was always just World War Two.
there was a World War I game on
Yeah, but they were
Steam.
tiny, and who cared?
Didn't one
Yeah,
of them cover
but
like
they're tiny. Who cares?
the Vietnam War? Or am I making this up?
Oh, Nom
Battlefield
63.
did.
Nom
There you
63
go.
did it. Yeah, and Call of Duty did it.
When did
For
Call of
Black
Duty do it?
Ops.
Oh, well, that was
Well,
after
it was
World at War,
like-
though.
It was sort of Vietnam, sort of.
No,
Sort
I
of.
know what you mean because there was
Yeah.
like time travel or like multiple characters that you bounced between, and one of them was in Vietnam, I think, or
Yeah.
time periods and stuff. But World at War, either way, came before that one.
Yeah, yo, I love Black Ops though. I thought the story in Black Ops was really cool, only because I like
See-
stories like that.
I've always been I always played Call of Duty for the multiplayer because me and my brother would play it. I've talked about it in videos, like my top 20 games I did last year for my birthday. My brother and I used to play Call of Duty online, and it was like the one game we played together, and we would just every single game was which one of us is the best player in the game.
Yo, 1v1
Nice.
Rust, knives only.
Oh, fuck that.
I'm gonna be that guy.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding. I never really played. I didn't play Call of Duty as much as I did Halo, but I do love Call of Duty.
I was really awesome at Halo 3 multiplayer. That game was fun too. That was probably Halo 3 is like in my top games of all time, above any Call of Duty game.
Definitely.
I never
I
played
really
2
like
online because I didn't have my original Xbox on
Oh,
Xbox
man.
Live.
Be happy, man. That was. I compare Halo 2 to the Super Smash Brothers Melee.
That
It's basically it. Like,
the most toxic
there's-
community ever. Is that what you mean?
but man, no, like
Like
just
the skill
in-
ceiling is so high.
I should do that, but I literally look at it from like a game design standpoint. Like
Yeah.
you basically use all the exploits of the game, right, to just get over, like the double shot,
Oh
right,
my
or
god.
the BXR. It was cool though. You couldn't. I think the only thing that might have not been allowed in competitive play was super bouncing. If you guys remember that at all.
I do not at all.
Okay,
What did you have to do that?
so you had to do certain things, right? Some people, like, it was really simple as, like, you jump on a spot, and then you have a chance to, like, bounce, like, 100 feet into the air.
Oh,
So if you
weird.
guys are familiar with Ascension, this one map, right, it has a giant tower on one end. It almost looks like a giant obelisk,
Okay.
and there's
Yeah.
no way to get up there. But,
Uh,
people take the sniper rifle, and they jump on this spot, and it's close enough to the pillar.
Wow.
That's
Where
one of
you
these
jump
strategies.
all the way up, and you have literally like access to the entire map, and you just boom, boom, boom.
Well, getting back to Call of Duty though, because I
Call of
recognize
Duty.
I'm not gonna buy this. I haven't bought a Call of Duty game since Infinity. Not
Infinite Wars.
no,
I was
no,
like,
no, no.
geez, that was like
Sorry.
the last one almost.
Modern Warfare 3 was the last one I bought because that was the last one me and my brother played. But
Yeah, that was my last one too.
That's a good place to stop, though.
no, I know, and I don't
In
think
my
I'm gonna buy
opinion.
this. But I do think going back to World War II is cool because I've wanted to see Normandy in really high def, really done well ever since, hell, even all the way back to Allied Assault.
Mm.
Did you guys play that Allied Assault?
Well,
No,
I
I
played
didn't.
bits and pieces of it.
Oh,
I
that
didn't really
game-
get too much into it, honestly.
I let's played it a while ago. That game was super good, and it had the coolest depiction of Normandy, where you had to like work your way up the beach, and there was lots of insta kill zones because it's like, yeah, you were probably gonna die.
Jeez. Was it Did they? I have a few questions for this. Do they have like their celebrity cameo in this one? Do we know?
Oh man, I have to imagine they do. I can't remember. I only watched the trailer like once.
Mm.
There's
Yeah, 'cause
probably,
I saw the
but
trailer.
I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because they've been cranking out these like these
Jon Snow, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The dude who plays Merle from Walking Dead, he was in Black Ops 2.
Oh, freaking from Guardians.
Yeah, from Guardians.
What's his name?
Yeah.
Michael Rooker.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, he was in Black Ops 2. And you had the option to like kill him or not at one point, even though he was on your team.
Oh God.
Yeah. Black Ops 2 wasn't that great. But yo,
Yeah,
I would
No, go
love in this one, even though I know it's not a thing, but I remember I did a research paper on like World War II, right? And unique weapons of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So they had stuff like they had really messed up stuff like before before the atom bomb, right? They're like, okay, how can we get back at Japan?
Yeah.
Right? All right, so there was one guy who invented these incendiary bombs that they attached to bats,
Ooh.
right?
Oh my
And
god.
then they like did tests on like mock towns because they're like, oh, like the Japanese like structures, like most houses, they're mostly made of wood,
Yeah.
or bamboo
Paper
and
doors.
stuff. Yeah, so they're like, well, what if we like unleash these bats into the town, and we just like burn their houses alive? I was like, yo, that's crazy. That stuff.
I mean, that's bad, but
Talk
it's
about
not
bad out of
atomic
hell.
bomb level.
it's not. You're
It-
right.
But on a much
Well-
more personal level, you see a bat flying towards you and just bursts into flame, and you're like,
Just burst
Jesus.
into flames. What else did they have? They had pigeon-seeking missiles. You guys heard of that one?
Pigeon-seeking missiles?
Pigeon-seeking missiles.
Tyler, keep these because these are all good. Probably going to be in the new Call of Duty game because they gotta have. If you
Some
think
kind of
about
perk
it,
system.
they don't have red dot sight in
They
World
don't.
War II. So what are they going to do for multiplayer?
Don't. Oh my God! Yeah, you know, and they have been getting more ridiculous. That's probably gonna be the Predator missile. The pigeon-seeking missile's gonna
No,
be the
V2,
Predator missile,
dude.
dude.
Just calling a V2 strike.
Just those are terrible. Like V2 missiles would take out an entire map
Yeah, well,
if it was a real V2 missile.
kids don't know that. You
Maybe
freaking
it'll-
call Tyler. At the end of
Kill
in the
me.
first game, in Modern Warfare 2, you called in a nuke,
You're right, which ended the game.
which literally
Yeah.
just was like, you win, the game's over, you can't do anything. Bye.
Just like
Yeah.
real life.
Man,
But why
I think one time in my life playing Infinity War, or I keep saying that, Modern Warfare 2, I got a perfect game where I went 15-0 and then called it a nuke and ended it.
Jesus.
I believe I did that one time.
Gotta call
Never
it a
came
nuke.
close.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten a nuke called in any Modern Warfare 2 game I played.
Oh no, me and my brother got a few. We
Jeez.
definitely called in a few nukes.
I couldn't do it. I'm not that good. I
No.
I didn't commit enough time to like learn the maps enough to get good at that game.
Oh man, I have stories about that game from college, but I'm gonna not tell them now because we should go on to the next topic.
The next topic, so we're not ashamed.
Go ahead, Tyler. You can. I'm pretty sure you added this one, so.
Oh man, Marvel Defenders, yo,
Mhm.
I'm so hype about this. Even
I think
though like parts of me shouldn't be, but I am.
Well, see, here's my problem. I believe I talked about this with Ed this past weekend.
Yeah.
I think this is awesome and a cool idea, and I hope it does well. But I have
What?
watched none of the Netflix shows past the middle of Daredevil season 2.
Yeah, me neither.
I just
That's right.
we talked about this. I think
Yes.
me and Val just kind of stopped watching them, and then I was just done. And she's like, "I'm not gonna watch anymore. You watch them," and I'm like, "I should watch them." And then there's always something else to watch. And it's
Yeah,
like
there's
now
always
I probably have to
something to
rewatch
watch.
Right up our
season
alley,
2.
though.
The problem was, like, the villains were just so cool. Like, Kingpin, and then especially, oh god, what was his? I remember David Tennant.
Oh, from Jessica Jones?
Yeah, David Tennant, but I don't remember
Yeah,
his
David Tennant
villain's
was
name.
perfect.
Doesn't
Oh,
matter,
Purple
he's
Man.
David
Purple
Tennant.
Man.
It's just
Purple Man. That was his name. Well,
Oh.
that was the villain's name.
Oh, well,
well,
he was
His
sick.
villain name.
He held that whole show together.
He did. He really did. I think I honestly like I look back, and he was definitely the reason why I kept watching Jessica Jones. Like solidly, and
No,
like
complete-
Daredevil, like they each have like their different niche to it, right? Like Daredevil's fight scenes. Oh, the choreography
So
of
good.
those fight scenes. I The
I
vapors.
still remember, I think we were talking about it. That fight scene in the first
In the
season, where in the
hallway?
hallway, where he just like ducks into
Yes.
rooms and then flies
Yes.
back out and just keep going.
Dude, it's great. And in the second season, the Punisher comes through.
Oh my God! The
And
only
he does a
reason
lot
we
of
made it
cool
halfway
shit.
through the season was the Punisher.
Oh my god.
Talk about the perfect casting.
They did.
When
They really
when they were
did.
like Shane's the Punisher, it's like, yep, he is the Punisher. Yeah, I'm glad
He
you
is.
noticed. I'm
And I
glad.
even
I'm glad the
wondered,
world
too-
now realizes.
I was like, who are they gonna get that's gonna like out Punisher Thomas Jane? I'm not even gonna mention Dolph Lundgren. I'm not even gonna. And then they got, then they got Shane, who I'm blanking on his name right now, but
I don't. All I ever know
No one
him
knows
as
his
is
name.
Shane.
He's Shane.
yeah. There's one fight scene later on
I did
that
not
you
see.
just go, what?
What the hell?
Just what? Like, because you didn't make it that far, because it was like towards the end of the season.
Okay, let me. I'm gonna open Netflix while we're talking because
I'm
I
gonna
need to
open
remember.
Netflix.
I need to remember how far in, because I feel like he was already in prison and he was like actually kind of close to getting out of prison. Like,
Okay,
he-
so you made it to
he
when
had
he was
already
in
met up with-
prison.
yeah, he had already met up with Kingpin and stuff.
Okay, did something
Hold
like
on.
really crazy happen when he was in there? I'm not gonna go
where,
into detail
where
in case like
no,
Freeman-
he had a fight scene in the prison.
It's okay. I'm not
Okay.
gonna watch this stuff.
Okay,
Season
so
2,
you did see
episode
that.
10. Season 2, episode 10. I watched nine.
Yeah.
We watched 9 episodes, and we had season 10 to watch, or episode 10. We literally only had 4 episodes left.
Okay, because that was one of my favorite scenes in the entire season. Was just him, like
Fighting
in
in the
that
prison?
hallway. Oh, my
that was
goodness.
sick. Yeah, I know. I remember what you're talking about now. Yeah,
That was terrifying,
It's like,
and
hey,
I loved it.
how do we have a good fight scene in like a 5-foot square of a prison block? And it's like, oh, we did. Yeah, they did it.
The Punisher. They really embodied like that scene. That was the Punisher I was looking for. That's what I wanted.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what I wanted
that
to see.
literally the thing that made me keep wanting to be like, no, we gotta watch. We got the show we're watching is Daredevil. Damn it!
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, it's. But
And Luke
back to
Cage
the
is all right.
Luke
Oh yeah,
Cage,
Defenders
I've heard,
in general.
yeah, like, well, no, I just Luke Cage is fine. Like, I just haven't watched it, and I heard kind of blech things about Iron Fist.
Yeah.
It's like,
Like-
all I would want to watch, like, so I saw the Defenders trailer, and it opens with Jessica Jones in jail, and then Matt Murdock comes in and is like, I'm your lawyer, haha. It's like, okay, there's a TV show. And then it cuts to Iron Fist and Luke Cage, and Luke Cage, like, hits Iron Fist and is like, hey, what's up? And Iron Fist just glows
I'm
his
like
hand.
watching through this now as you're describing the plot to me.
Iron Fist,
I
like,
mean, yeah.
does his hand glow thing and then punches Luke Cage, and Luke Cage is like, whoa, you can hurt me. That's wild. Now we're a team. Ah!
I mean, that's basically how they formed the Heroes for Hire dudes. They're like, yo, we're Luke Cage and Iron Fist. We fuck shit up. Give us money for
Yeah.
it.
But I want to
Give
see
us
like the
money.
Jessica Jones and Matt Murdock. Like, I don't want to see all 4 of them. I don't know.
You do or you don't want to.
I don't really want to. I don't really care about the other 2. Maybe it's just because I haven't seen their shows. But like, Daredevil was so cool when that that first season was so different because that was so not how superheroes were on TV.
Yeah.
And then
Especially
Jessica
the
Jones
fact that
is
he
like,
wasn't
hey, David
super.
Tennant makes you look really good.
David Tennant makes it look real good. I like Jessica Jones, and it's like mostly because not just because David Tennant though, and it's gonna sound maybe sappy, but it touched on some like some real issues that like people have, and it like conveyed it in a message that was easily consumed for media watching whatever.
Yeah.
Like the whole like rape thing, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that was
yeah.
like that whole thing. I was like, oh wow, this is kind of interesting the way they play it off, especially since it wasn't a sexual thing. It was a clearly like mind control thing,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
it's like they toyed around with that theory, and I thought they did a good job with presenting that.
I mean, but now what do you do?
Now what do you do? That's the question.
David
What do you
Tennant's
do?
gone. I actually said this. I think 'cause
Is
we
he
were-
gone?
I
Is he-
think
Was that
we
the
were
only
talking
reason that
about
like
this.
kept you watching the show?
Oh, David Tennant? Yeah, absolutely. He was
Yeah,
so
I-
interesting. Jessica Jones is like, grr, I have anger issues. Grr, I hate everybody. It's like, I don't care about you. I care about David Tennant being the coolest, crazy, mind control-y guy.
Yeah, he worked the role. I will agree to that. Like
Like-
in every season or any of these shows, they have at least one character, except for except for Iron Fist. Iron Fist didn't have that character that made me like go, oh man, I really like this guy. Like Daredevil had Will D'Onofrio as Kingpin.
Yeah, that was so good too.
You know, like you said, like the villains. The villains definitely made.
I made this point on Sunday, I think, when we were all hanging out. The shows and the movie have the opposite problem of each other, where the movies don't have a memorable villain that lasts past a movie every single time. Whereas the shows have all these cool villains and no one cares about the heroes.
No one cares about the hero too much. At least from my experience, like talking to you guys and other people, I hear a lot of praise for the villains.
Yeah, like
the
but
hero.
like the closest of the movies had is Loki, but he's like an anti-hero kinda because no one's ever gonna make because everyone likes Tom Hiddleston.
Everybody loves Tom Hiddleston except for Taylor Swift.
But and then they had Ultron. And there's so many villains and stuff, but like you think of the Avengers ones kind of as the main guys because they're the ones that the whole team has to fight.
Right.
I don't
know.
I have, but I'll leave this more for the end. But having seen Guardians 2,
oh yeah,
I saw Guardians 2 yesterday. I was the only one, so I'll save it for a little thing at the end. But Freeman, why don't you cover weeb shit?
Yeah,
all right, let's get through the weeb shit this week. So we're at a weird point in the anime season. We're like halfway through every show, so no one wants to announce anything yet because everything's still in its prime. So all the news here is coming from outside of Japan. But first of all, last week I talked a little bit about how Amazon's anime service, Anime Strike, is trying to be a little more competitive. They announced mobile downloading. So the industry giant, the one who controls all the subtitled airing right now shows, Crunchyroll, they're like, uh-oh. And they go back, and the next day, they're like, oh, we have mobile downloads too, yeah. So they announced that with no real date in sight. But Crunchyroll is aware that they got to step up their game, so I'm happy about that. I've been a big Crunchyroll fan for a while.
There you go, competition.
It's
promotes the bloodthirsty competition. I love it.
Yeah.
I just wish they'd let you download like console or something, because I never watch my phone anymore, so it's really annoying. But the next thing, for anyone who doesn't legally watch their anime, famed anime torrent and public tracker NyaTorrent shut down this week. The creator's country passed a new law where he would be essentially in trouble for hosting this website, even though he doesn't distribute any content, and he shut it down without a word. So, pirates out there, a little.
God, now you're reminding me of the Pirate Bay where they were like, we're gonna buy a big barge and we're gonna sit out in the ocean in the middle of nowhere and international waters, and no one will tell us we
links
can't
to people.
Set this up.
That's the thing. Like they're still not down. Like as the amount of times that they've tried to.
They're still not down, but they're pretty.
They're hit. They took a big hit.
Crippled, but they're not dead.
They took a pretty massive hit before, and they still don't seem super duper good.
And what was the other one? There was another torrenting site that got destroyed last year.
I super don't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh man, I heard of it. Like I remember hearing about it. I was like, oh snap! Like it got completely.
I feel like it had Bit in its name, but I don't remember what it was.
No, was it Bit? No, it
wasn't BitTorrent because
I was saying that's the
client.
actual client. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Point is,
torrenting
is becoming a little trickier now that everyone's getting a little more careful.
Well, so the other thing is, I think a lot of it is actually people are torrenting less because digital content is so readily available now.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I used to pirate pretty much everything, but then I got caught once and I had to lay low for a bit, and I signed up for Crunchyroll. I'm like, wow, this is actually easier than having to go look up and download what I want.
Yeah, like
it didn't cost that much relative to what I was using.
Yeah, like paying $10 a month, $10 a month for Netflix, where I watch it, and I believe my brother, my sister, and my dad's parents, funny enough, all use my Netflix account, and we almost never run into each other on at the same time, and it's like no cost, and it's just so easy. It's on my phone. It's everywhere. It's like, unless there's something specifically available nowhere online easily, I never go through the effort of wanting to torrent it because it's like, wow, it's available.
Yo, actually, I'll cite Ross from Game Dungeon.
Oh yeah.
On this one, you've heard it. Like, if you can't find this game anywhere, or like this media anywhere ever, like whether it's online, like like I feel like, in my opinion, pirating is completely justified because you can't even get it, especially with stuff
I feel like it's
games.
wrong to call it pirating at that point.
At that point,
it's
archiving?
acquiring.
It's technically pirating, but it's like it is almost like archiving. Like if this thing wouldn't exist because someone has it, unless someone hosts it on a torrent site.
Yeah, the game would be dead, or game or movie would be dead. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't have it anymore. You're right.
Like if a game is at the point where he actually mentioned this in his follow-up video he just put out
That
like,
he just
yesterday.
did, yeah.
He actually was like, yeah, if a game is only available on like eBay boxes or like Amazon super like selling as a collectible nonsense
For like $5,000. Like
Yeah,
you can't
like-
Yeah.
people should be able to play that if they want to.
Especially if the company, yeah, like he said, like if the company's not even around anymore, not even distributing the game
Yeah.
or making a new IP, like
Like
I feel
up
like
this
it's acceptable.
this game exists in limbo because the rights holder is some subsidiary group of some subsidiary group of some subsidiary group
Just
somewhere.
like happens to own the rights.
Because someone bought a thing bought like pieces of a game company when it got ripped apart 20 years ago, and they got bought and they got bought and they got bought. Like, it's not worth it just for this little thing.
Yeah.
But
I know
someone
I
put a
know
lot
Gabe
of work
Newell
into
once
this,
said,
and
like
it's-
right when
it's
when
nice
Steam
to
was taking
see.
off, that you got to be more convenient than the pirates, and that's kind of what Steam did.
Yeah.
And why it took off, because it honestly it's more convenient than the pirates.
It
And there's
is.
sales so much, and the fact that especially these days DRM is getting such a hassle.
Oh man.
Like I remember when you used to just torrent something and it just worked. Now it's like
Oh, you need keygen now.
I may or may not have torrented my editing software years ago. And back then it was like just download, and then it came to another year and it was like, oh, now I have to like
Whoops.
enter code or like enter the
Fake
programs
validation
all
stuff.
into
Yeah.
lists so that Windows automatically blocks the signal. And now
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
have to do a lot
or
of-
I
you
could
have to
just
do a
pay
lot of
$30 a
loopholes.
month and get all my editing software from Adobe legitimately.
You know what I do love though? I do love the things you see that developers put in for the pirated
Oh
copies.
yeah, those are funny.
I
oh yeah,
love
like
it.
the
Remember,
what was that one? It was like
I remember the Game Dev Tycoon,
Studio. Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
where they
Game
were
Dev
like,
Tycoon.
if you pirate it, you hit a hard wall where you can't sell enough copies because
Because
every
people are
copy
pirating your game.
loses money on pirates. That's
That's
hilarious.
funny.
Those are always funny.
Yo, that's a feature. Now, that's like an
But I-
actual feature.
But I feel like there was such a tiny window there for that to be a thing, because almost immediately too many people started doing cutesy things like that. And then people were like, oh, I'm just not going to pirate now. I'll just go buy it because I want to win the game.
'Cause I want to win
Yeah.
the game. Yo, I'll let you know. That was my homework one day. I had to play
What?
Come
Game
up with an
Dev.
anti-piracy.
No, I had to
play
the
game.
I had to
Dev Tycoon.
play Game Dev Tycoon. And I was like, man. And then I actually started getting into game development. I'm like, this only scratches the surface. It's
That's
missing
funny.
like the tears, the tears and like sleepless nights of getting
The
this game
overtime.
Oh my
done.
god.
Dude, it's real. Game dev is real.
All right,
Oh,
so
man.
I think we're before we go on to a deep piracy thing, since
Right.
that's not really Weeb's topic.
Yeah, this concludes the Weeb Corner, which came the piracy corner for this week only.
I think it's cool though. I will like just real quick. I think it's cool, but like just jumping back to the downloads, I think that is a cool feature though
Yeah,
that they're putting
Oh, yeah,
down, and
definitely.
like the healthy competition I feel is going to be good, and not just getting better features for the clients like us, but like that could lead to other good things like Springboard, Crunchyroll, and hopefully other applications or services to do
I
stuff
mean,
like that.
tangentially related, I know I haven't used YouTube downloading software ever since YouTube came out with its download videos finally
Oh yeah,
onto your
Thank
phone
God.
when you're on Wi-Fi.
There you go. See?
All right, so we're going to take an edited out break, and then when we come back, we'll have the epic throwdown topic between Tyler and Freeman as they discuss Final Fantasy 13. So we'll be right back.
Oh yeah.
All right, and we're back, and you don't know how long we were gone. You'll never know. Haha. But
uh-huh.
it is time for the throwdown. the one of the two podcast ideas we had when we started this, when we came up with this idea. What are our topics? Well, we'll do Magic because that was what made me want to create this. And then what's the Final Fantasy 13? Hey, I hate that game. Oh, that game's great. Oh my god. No, those are not the points of views you're going to see here today. But there was definitely some back and forth, and then immediately it was slammed down to let's save that for a podcast topic. So we have two opposing points of view. I'm just going to kind of be moderator here because I have no input on this outside of watching Spoony One's review.
Perfect.
And seeing a little bit of footage from his reviews and stuff. So I'm just going to be the moderator. Who wants to do their first opening statement that'll trigger this whole thing?
I'll give my opening statement because this is what started this discussion.
So Freeman is the one. So let's define the roles. Freeman tends to fall more positively on this game, and Tyler probably a little more negatively.
Yes.
Okay, so never mind. All right, go ahead. I'm gonna talk barely at all for the next 45 minutes.
So I know it started a couple months ago when Tim was showing me just a bunch of the Spoony One reviews, and we get to Final Fantasy 13, and I'm sitting there, and he's ripping this game apart, criticizing, he's not even 5 minutes in the opening of the game, and it's 45 minutes in this video of what's wrong with it. And I'm sitting there the whole time looking at Tim going, the game's not that bad. It's not that bad.
I do remember this.
Beautiful.
This was my motto, and then a week later we're sitting there playing D&D, and we mentioned this review, and I'm like, it's not that bad. And Tyler looks at me and goes, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, actually.
And that was the point where I'm no, I need to prove that, despite its flaws, Final Fantasy 13 is not that bad of a game.
It's not that bad,
Tyler,
huh? It's not that bad.
Yes, that's the statement I'll be going. It's not that bad.
All right, Tyler?
Okay, so like Freeman said...
Now, hold on. Actually,
what?
Something Freeman said earlier is making me think of this. Let's try to keep this to the first game. Because Freeman even admitted when we went and got dinner before, the second and third game are, undefendable.
Oh, do you mind if I have a short segment at the end where I complain about the sequel?
Sure, but I think you'll both agree that those games are bad. Right?
Yeah.
Tyler?
The sequels to 13?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very much.
So we'll keep it mostly to 13 alone for this, and then at the end, Freeman can go on about how garbage the sequels made it, even at all. So
I agree with him, so I'm gonna go off on him with those.
All
but
right,
as far as 13
go ahead,
goes,
13.
Yeah, I would say, what Freeman says is true. I lean a little bit more negatively towards 13. It does some things correctly, I will admit, but for the most part, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the things that it does. Pretty much. That's gonna be my opening statement on that, and
Okay.
I can get into more of why and how.
So Freeman, give us some good things.
All right, so I know we're probably going to talk about this first because I think Tyler agrees with me on this one. One of the things that most people will say was at least decent enough about Final Fantasy 13 was the combat system.
Yes.
I'm
going to jump in and say that right now. Yes.
At it was a little controversial when they announced you only control one character, but the thing was, you look at RPGs at the time, especially Persona 3 when it came out, they were playing around with this idea of AI knows best, gives one person enough control over one character and make that experience deep enough. And with 13, I didn't feel like you needed to control every character. The game did have a certain sense of knowing what the optimal move was, and your teammates never did something stupid. Something like Persona 3, your teammates did something stupid. 13, you set someone as healer, they were going to heal. I didn't complain. I'm not oh man, they're not healing effectively enough. But being able to control just one character and have your whole party do exactly what you want, it was good enough, and it led to a good combat system that actually did take advantage of the active time battle system. You go to 4, 5, 6, literally everything since 3. Timing wasn't super important. It was just kind of waiting for your turn to be up, but there were so many times, especially for the end game boss in 13, where that last second swap to what was it? It was Sentinel, whatever the one that has the defensive boost.
Oh yeah, the
switching
Sentinel
at the last
class,
second would save your party from a team wipe, and stuff like that made the combat system actually feel really fun.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I did like that, which is kind of weird, right? I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but they had so much micromanaging in 12 to go from that micromanaging and that gambit system to go to 13 where it focuses more on like you said, playing with one character, right? For the most part, you control one character while everybody else is kind of like on autopilot essentially, and you can't really dictate a lot of the times like what they do. But it's good though, because later on in the game you find out that everything kind of gets very hectic very fast.
Yeah, it does.
So to manage your skills and your abilities with everything else, it's almost kind of like a godsend. Like it's almost like they meant for it to work like that. So I was like,
Essentially, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, one of the things about this game, and it was every interview I read before it came out, was that this game is essentially Square Enix saying, "Oh man, people really like the movie Advent Children. How do we make this into
oh my
a
god,
combat system that isn't like just Kingdom Hearts?" And this was their answer to it. I know during one of the first fights where you're fighting like this giant like robotic monster thing on the highway.
yeah, the shark
They
thing.
had one quick bit where there was an action scene where Lightning like jumps off a wall before one of her attacks, and that was them basically saying, "Oh man, look, it's Advent Children." But I know they didn't follow through with that for the whole game, but they did keep the whole concept of like you're moving closer and further away from enemies, you're jumping around, stuff's flying. Like if you launch an enemy in the air, Lightning jumps up in the air and will like physical attack, floating. Like it was cool. It was, except for 15, it was probably the closest to Advent Children they've come.
To clarify, Advent Children is the movie.
The movie
The
sequel
Final
to
Fantasy
7.
VII movie.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was-
one thing I do have to just add on that. So I was like, I played it. I played a little bit of it last night, right? And one thing I did not remember about the combat mechanics was when, like, you make an attack, right? And since like all the characters on the screen are moving around the limited fight space, like if like Lightning goes to like make an attack, right? And even if the character moves just a little bit away, it actually like has like like you can miss. Like it's not like a chance to
yeah.
miss. Like you miss straight up.
That was something very interesting, that your position on the battlefield mattered, especially if you had an enemy that did. A couple of the bigger ones had like interrupt attacks, and they would occasionally like it wouldn't stop your attack from happening, but your character would like stagger, and they'd wait another second before they could attack, and your ATB gauge doesn't go back up till you use it. So you were like losing time in combat because of that, and it was really weird that it played an effect, but you didn't have any real control over where your characters were.
Yeah.
They just kind of moved further and away depending on what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, I have to
Yeah,
defend
I
it
don't know.
though, just a little bit, like only because like it was solid. It was something new, like newish, I should say.
Like I had fun with it.
Yeah, I did too. It made for some pretty like cool combos. I know for some of you who are listening to this, it's like this is no argument. This is like he's agreeing with him. What the hell?
We are going to agree with each other on a couple points, because I know we're probably going to transition to the second part of gameplay that is probably the most divisive part
Final
of
Fantasy
Final
hallway.
Fantasy 13. Yeah, it's the hallways. That's what I'm
The
gonna bring up.
hallways.
So-
They're terrible.
So,
Well, what do I not like, or what do you have?
oh no, I was gonna talk about the hallways. I was just gonna give an explanation of why they exist. This is one of those topics where like even though I like the game, it's not something I'm a huge fan of. Like it was especially noticeable, like the entire time you're on not Pulse, what's it called, Cocoon.
Cocoon, yeah.
That entire stage of the game, where they didn't even try and make it look like you could turn a corner. It was just like, here's a hallway and there's an item to your left.
You're going.
And especially in the first couple stages, like when you just start off with Snow and his two goons, like it's a straight shot forward, and it was like, this is the opening game. It's really noticeable. And at first I didn't really care because I'm like, oh man, this story's pretty cool. What happens next? And that's probably the issue of the game. It was story driven design. They kept saying, you don't really need to turn a left corner and go nowhere, because you need to turn right because the story is going to happen there. And for someone who, on my first playthrough, I really loved this story at first. I was really intrigued. I'm like, they keep throwing around these terms. What do they mean? What are the C? What are the false C? Why is that person crystal? Like, I want to know what happened next.
Pulse foul
And-
C.
And being able to just be like move forward, stories over there, I didn't hate it at first. I was like, all right, cool. I know exactly where to go.
I notice you keep saying at
First.
At first. This conversation's going on a while. I'm not going to jump into that quite yet. But I'm trying to understand the reason I liked it first before we get into the criticisms. I know Tyler's got like the entire arsenal to throw at me here for this one.
Yeah,
But,
the hallways.
like,
Because man,
Yeah, the hallway. But like when I played Final Fantasy VII, I put it down for like a week right after I unlocked the open world, and I kept trying to figure out where am I going next. and I think it was right on time you go to the Golden Saucer.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to think, oh, here's Fort Condor, but I'm like, I'm confused where I'm going, because up till that point, like, you don't really know you're chasing after Sephiroth. You're just kind of, here's the open world. And that was the one part of 7 I didn't like, where I'm like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be going, what I'm supposed to be doing. And 13 didn't give you the option to not know what was up. You always knew what was happening next. You knew where you were going to go. And I kind of liked that at first, until you got to Pulse.
Then you got to Pulse, dude.
Which everyone is like, this is the part where it's open world, exploration's going to be great. And you get there, and it's fields in one direction.
Fields. This is
like
where it tilts me. This is it right here.
If you want to chime in,
because it takes you. Not only does it take you forever to get there, because it does. You go through hallway after hallway after hallway through all the shoehorns, and like in the beginning, like when I was thinking about it, like when I played it at the time, it's like, oh, the story's fine, but like, where's all the things that make it a Final Fantasy game? Like, where's my, like, different locations, right, that I can explore? Like, they barely even gave you, like, a town in which you could go, like, find different shops. Like, all the shops and, like, saving was done at the save points, yeah. So it's like, you couldn't interact with any of the side characters, right? You didn't get any, like, cool side missions to do, and, you didn't get a chance to, like, go around and, really explore, right? So then when you finally get to Pulse, right, you finally get there, and you're like, holy shit, like, oh man, there's got to be a lot of things to do. I can backtrack, like, maybe I can go back to, like, other places. No, it's just a big open field. And not only that, your side quests come in the form of these, like, mirrors. If I'm not mistaken, right, they're like the fallen, like, fallacy that couldn't, like, fulfill, like, their task.
Oh, yeah, like you talk to them and they give you a mission.
Yeah, and that's all it was.
You have to find their starting location.
That's all it was. And that was it. There was nothing else. Like, and I'm talking, like, before you get to the end of the game, right? Like...
Oh, like the earlier ones?
Yeah, like, you get to...
Well, even the later ones are still the same way.
Yeah, but it's like, you would think, like, it would at least give you more variety than that. But that was it. That was it.
I mean, it's kind of like, like fetch quests in MMO. It's the same kind of thing. There's a quest giver. You get the quest. You go do it.
This is Final Fantasy, damn it.
And you know what? The 2 before it and the 1 after it were MMOs. So
they were MMOs.
They were MMOs.
So I'm gonna give them a slight pass. The slightest of passes. But yeah, like I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling like that. It was like a Final Fantasy game. It like that's what made me, like, it kind of broke my spirit, I won't lie. Like, once I got towards the end of the game, I was like, this is it. Like, it took me almost 40 hours to get here to an open world, and you're just gonna give me this? Like, yeah, it looks pretty, but, like, where's the substance? Where's all the other stuff that, like, I really enjoyed about this franchise before? Like, granted, 10 kind of almost suffered the same problem, right? Like, it was almost very shoehorned. It was very, like, straightforward, but it gave you, like, some pretty unique missions to do stuff, and on top of that, like, the areas that were limited, you could at least explore.
They did, but like, you can see a lot of 10 in 13 that they were kind of saying, we only really want you to be here because this is where the story dictates you should be.
Yeah, you're right, but, like, I feel like they really drove that point home a lot more in 13, like, only because, like, I feel like they made it more obvious, right? Like, it's almost to the point where they ruined the immersion with the hallways, like, even on the map, right? Like, I even when I was playing it, it's like, wow, it's literally just a hallway. Like, you see it on the map, you break out the map, it's just a hallway.
It was kind of also at the end, especially, I think one of the last levels, there's like 3 staircases and it's just a back and forth, so it's 1 hallway, 3 levels, 2 different directions. But I don't know. The thing is, like, I've played almost all the post game of 13, and I actually like Pulse in the post game where you can explore a little more. But like, when you first get there, they want to, like, get this sense of you that, like, the world is stronger than you are. Like, there are these things who can, like, one-shot you, and it was cool, but it discouraged exploration. Even though this is the first time they let you explore, it's like, don't go there. You're not strong enough. And I just kind of, like, roamed around. I died 3 or 4 times. I'm like, you know what? where's the next hallway? I just want to continue the plot. And I feel like that was kind of what they were trying to get you to do with that part. And I don't particularly like it, but in the post game, when you have full freedom and you're trying to like chain together your Adamantoise kills, like I personally kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The openness to, especially with the end game missions where they were kind of harder.
Yeah, I mean, I only personally like the Adamantoise stuff. Everything else, like, it felt all kind of the same, and I didn't have that want to do post-game stuff like I did the other Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, and mostly because you couldn't go back and really explore anything out. There were 3 zones you could go to in the post game, and there was only one that actually mattered because one of them was just like boss fight zone.
Yeah, it's not like 10, right? I think 10 was great, especially if did you get a chance to play the international version at all, or like hear about like the Japanese stuff that they had for 10?
I'm not sure if they added that to the PS3, PS4 remaster they put out.
Oh, but they did.
All right, because I just started playing through that one recently.
Yes.
I gotta play more of it.
In fact, it screwed me one time. It screwed me in the best way possible. I have to add that note. So
That's always good.
it is like it's pretty great. So
I got screwed. It was great.
it was great though. So like I was trying to get Calbolg, right? What's his face's ultimate weapon, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot the sun crest. Back when you fight Unalesca. So I go all the way back, I saunter back, and I read about all this stuff, but I forgot about it. I forgot when you go back to where you fight Unalesca, the Dark Bahamut shows up.
Oh shit, so you had like another boss fight you hadn't prepped for.
Yeah, and I got wrecked. Like when I say I got wrecked, I got destroyed. Like there was no way like I was prepared for this. Like cuz the Dark Aeons, they're all harder than Yu Yevon or like freaking what's his face, Seymour, right? The Seymour bot, like they are infinitely stronger, and like there's like nothing you can really do about it. It's like, okay, like I'm at end game, but you're not post game party, so you're gonna go and fight the Dark Aeons. No, just don't do it. You're not gonna win unless I learned when if you have Yojimbo and you pay that son of a bitch a lot of money, he one hits them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now you know. Now you know. For
right.
any listeners out there that just want to beat the Dark Aeons, you can in fact one hit them with Yojimbo.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, as long as you got the coin. Khajiit has words if you have
cash.
Jeez, not the shit.
Not this shit post. But yeah, so back to 13. It didn't offer that. It didn't offer that like, oh shit moment, I'm gonna get rocked, right? When I mean obviously it did, right, in certain parts.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, some of the not most of the boss fights didn't. There was one boss fight. It was what's his name? Bartandalaeus, the main villain. When you fight him the first time,
yeah.
I was like not prepped for this. Like I had barely used like the Sentinel formation at all, and I just kept getting wrecked by his like ultimate laser.
Sentinel is really good. Sentinel's so good.
I learned real fast after that fight. But
what did I
like? There were some fights in the second half that were like legitimately challenging.
Yeah, and that's why I like that. Like I said before, it's like there are times when the automatic like characters doing whatever they have to do comes in handy because there's just a lot to manage on the field at once. Especially like the whole staggering mechanic, right? Because you want to get that stagger, which, for the audience, if you haven't played Final Fantasy 13, the stagger mechanic is if you use magic or things that increase a stagger, once you fill this meter up from 0 to 100% or wherever it has it, you have the chance for a certain amount of time to do a lot of bonus damage to the enemy.
For a lot of enemies, some of them you couldn't even damage until they got staggered.
Yes.
So it was a core mechanic. You couldn't ignore it, and a lot of what combat revolved around was switching which class you were. Because some they were able to fill the bar, but they would fill it faster, but it would also fall faster. And there were some classes who they would fill the bar not quite as fast, but they would kind of keep it from decaying at all. So it was this management between the two, but also trying to stagger faster than they were killing you. That kind of gave this fun balance to combat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun, and that's probably one of my favorite parts of it.
And that's the only thing I like about 13.
The
story was okay.
I hated about 13.3.
But the story was super meh to me. Like, oh man, like I was playing it yesterday, right? And I like went through the opening scene, and I'm like, man, this is Final Fantasy VII. Lightning is actually just a female version of Cloud.
Oh, the opening sequence.
Because like, all right,
you're on a train.
I'm gonna
hell.
set the scene for everybody.
Oh boy.
You play as, and then and anyone can stop me if this sounds super familiar, but you play an edgy white person with crazy hair and a black dude with guns, and y'all break out on a train to go blow it up because y'all are terrorists.
All right, well, I'm going to stop you right there because the creator
I'm
has
gonna
said
stop you
1,000
right there.
times. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The creator said 1,000 times that Lightning was created with the goal of making a female Cloud.
My goodness,
So
yeah.
it was 100% intentional.
All just to turn her into a Louis Vuitton model. Yeah, I said it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because
Well,
I've witnessed it.
Hold on. Both the last two Final Fantasies, the main characters have just been like fashion tools.
They have.
Like the whole reason Noctis had to keep his weird ass looking outfit in 15 was because they signed some contract with some company saying, "Oh yeah, we're totally gonna make Noctis look generally like your fall lineup."
Jeez.
But that's what you get for selling out.
That's what you get. But it's cool though. You can nerd out in like San Francisco or whatever that has those advertisements. It's interesting. It's weird to see like video games like that bleed into the real world. Because man, that was surreal. Like I saw that stuff on the internet with not just Lightning, right? Like almost the whole main cast of 13 had like their own fashion. Like Vanille was wearing something too, and so was Zaz, and it's like weird. It's weird. But yeah, that's all I thought it was. That's all I thought like it ever really was. I'm like, man, it just felt like it just. That's all I could say. Like it fell short to me.
I mean, this was alright. So when 13 came out, Square had like not put out a game in a while, and 13 had already been delayed like 2-3 years. So they were milking the shit out of 13 with these like advertising partnerships. The reason they went straight into a sequel, and you kind of see the exact same thing with 15. They were like, we spent like 15 years in this game. Let's multimedia market blitz. Let's make an anime, a CG movie. Let's
all that
like
stuff.
partner with cup noodles to advertise Final Fantasy villain flavored cup noodles because we got to capitalize.
Yeah, dude, cup noodles isn't even that good in the game. I'll be honest. There's 100,000 more dishes you can make to make your party like
but
OP.
It's convenient.
It's
convenient.
Like if I didn't have ingredients, cup noodles gave you strength boost and it was like Gladiolus' favorite. But it's not about 13. It's about Final Fantasy selling out in general.
Best believe, listeners, we're gonna get there. We're getting there.
Do it.
We're
gonna get there.
But so we kind of started on the story of 13. We should probably pick up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, only been going for like 20 minutes already. Time to move on to the story, guys. Come on, chop it up.
Story.
So I'm not gonna lie. The story is essentially the worst part of 13, but it's not.
We're getting to the why he doesn't like it the second time
not because
around.
of the content story, but because of the presentation.
The presentation,
So,
okay.
Like I said before earlier in the game, the thing that was driving me to go point A to point B is like, people won't shut up with these Lucy, the Falsey. There's like 50 pages of text about it in the game that I don't want to read. I hope they just explain it to me. And spoiler alert, they don't.
They really don't.
So the game opens with everyone complaining about, oh my god, that person was near a Lucy, now they're a Falsey, get away from them, they're going to kill you. And in the meantime, it's like Saz's kid, and there's nothing different about him. And I couldn't figure out, I'm like, why is everyone panicking? And 13 did a lot of the what and not a lot of the why. They didn't explain to you generally what was going on in the world already. It was about halfway through when you get to Pulse and you meet Fang that she starts explaining like what the deal is with the Lucy, why everyone hates them. And it kind of starts to come together, but they don't go all the way because they kind of figure, you're gonna do your own research and reading and figure out why these things matter. And the fact of the matter is they don't. Final Fantasy 13 is the story of three gods who created the world, which is Pulse, and Cocoon, which is where the humans are. And they create a bunch of these demigods who are the Lucy. And the Lucy can make servants called the Falsey. It's easy enough to just say, God, demigod, servant. Bam, there you go. Makes perfect sense.
Nope,
But no. They call them Falsey and Lucy and they don't give a name to the gods, and that's why it's confusing.
Oh, and explain the tasks, Friedman. Can you explain the tasks?
Oh my god.
The tasks are terrible, especially how they introduce them.
The task was most definitely the worst part.
Freeman,
so
we have to watch the Spoonie review because you're bringing up so many things that I'm thinking of from the review about how dumb this is.
I lost your audio.
Oh no!
I can't wait to hear how this is. Just go. Go ahead.
Just go. Right, just do it. Go.
I'm excited.
So, when it first starts out, they like briefly tell you what was it Alicia is, or no? Shit, I'm forgetting which one.
Because they see this right here. You don't make one thing sound like the other.
Right.
Storytelling 101. I 100%
agree. It was so confusing. I don't remember which is what. I'm pretty sure
Storytelling 101, listeners.
What is it? It's the. Damn it. You're making me Google this because I just explained it and I already don't remember.
And the worst part is,
forgot what I just said.
The Lissi are the humans. So yeah. So early in the game, you find out a couple people have become Lissi, which are essentially they've been tainted by the falsy gods, and every Lissi is given a task that they must complete. If you don't complete it, you turn into a monster. If you do complete it, you're frozen in crystals forever.
So yeah, exactly. So it's all bad.
So it's a lose-lose scenario.
Lose.
But Friedman, how do they know their tasks? What are their tasks?
Yeah. That's the thing.
That was
you don't really know what your task is.
They don't even know what they have to do.
So
they even say they're like, how are we supposed to find out what we're supposed to do?
Review, all I can tell, and what he said is legitimately, you just have kind of a hazy fever dream. Basically. When you get the task and you get your brand and then nothing else, and you're just supposed to figure out yourself what your task was.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep. Storytelling. It's the best. It's the best.
So, hold on. So, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I don't personally agree that was the best way to go about it, but the reason they did that was if you knew what you needed to do, that's not that long of a game. Part of the journey was figuring out what you had to do, and by figuring out, that was their cue to say, let me teach the player about this world.
But how are you supposed to figure it out?
Let me bring them through Pulse to show them, what it means of the Pulse versus Cocoon war.
Don't some people have, like, tasks that go against them, against the...
Yes.
Like,
Fang all right, so... and Vanille, spoiler.
Oh, Fang and Vanille's. Well, technically speaking, everyone had the same one, but Fang's and Vanille's. They were all right. So, all the main characters have the same. All right, spoilers. All the main characters have the same goal, and it's to, become Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Ragnarok
to prevent what's his face from falling on Cocoon, essentially.
Yeah, or no, prevent Cocoon from falling onto Pulse.
That's right. Yeah, the other way around.
Oh yeah, the giant crystal.
Yeah.
So you have it at the end of the game. Fang and Vanille become Ragnarok, and they save Cocoon from falling, and they become the logo from the beginning of the game. and everyone else they're just kind of like off scot-free because they're like, yeah, you didn't really have to become Ragnarok. You just had to make Ragnarok happen. It's okay. It's vague. It's ambiguous. You did your job. A little bullshit, but it accomplished the goal. Other characters had more ambiguous ones. I don't remember what Sarah's was at the beginning of the game, but I remember what Saz's son had the worst. I wanted to cry because his mission was like find his dad, like find the other Lissi.
Of course,
so this kid
black kid's gotta find his dad. Obviously, this game already sucks.
So regardless of him being a Lissi or not, he's trying to find his dad. This kid's like 6 years old and he's lost. So he goes. He finally sees his dad. His dad has been looking for him. It's like, oh my god, it's my son. And then
boom, crystal.
Kid's crystal. Dead.
Boom, crystal.
End of story. I was so like, all right, that was good. That was a good mission because I was upset when he completed it. There was
wait, does that mean it was good? Like why? But why was that his task?
Good. Well, because all right, so his task was to find them because they needed more Lissi or something. I don't
the story isn't memorable, listeners. It's
I don't
not
know what the
memorable.
end goal was, but the problem was everyone else has really shitty or undefined goals where his was very simple. It's find your dad, and he does it.
Well, how did he know that? Did he just have a weird fever dream?
No, so he didn't particularly know, but I think I remember he was like captured by like the military's version of the Air Force, and they were like, "Oh,
The
he's clearly
military's version of the Air Force.
well, the Final Fantasy militaries, whatever the High Winds.
The High Winds.
They were like they noticed that he had this natural affinity towards tracking the main characters, and they used him to find them at one point.
Oh my god.
Like Lassie do have like a natural kind of something pulling them in the correct
Yeah, but
direction.
they're
So here's a
Mark.
question: at the end of the game, does Zaz's son get free? Oh, right, they do. I remember.
Yeah,
now.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
And then Sarah.
Don't know why, but and then
Sarah!
Sarah becomes the main character from 2.
Who does?
Sarah.
Sarah becomes the main
Lightning's-
character in 13 too.
Oh, right.
Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
younger
Lightning's
sister.
sister. Which
Who
brings
loves
me.
snow.
Now that we're talking about the ending, even though I wanted to touch on
You want to?
the prisons or the.
Do you want to go back to the beginning and work our way forward?
I just want to touch on one thing before I start going off about this ending because that. Oh my god. Alright. So before we go on, I just want to talk about how it takes forever to get to stuff, right? So, like, most Final Fantasy games, right? They don't really shoehorn you so much with the characters. Like, they give you suggestions, like, gentle suggestions on, like, what the character should be. Like, whether they be,
You mean in
like...
terms of like their combat
Yeah,
roles?
like their combat roles. And then it's not until like later on when you finally max out like their crystal, like their new weird way of having the sphere grid, right? But it's not a
Crystarium.
sphere grid because
The Crystarium.
the
oh
cri-
my
the
Look,
Crystarium.
every Final Fantasy
that's
from now
right.
on is going to be a not really a sphere grid.
Right, but
You heard
but
it
like
here.
the license board was fine. The license board from 12 was great.
Up from 12.
In my opinion, only because it gave you so many options to like do different things. But it's like in 13, you just had like, you know, you were just shoehorned like, oh, yep, they're getting this now, they're getting this now. Oh, do you want to branch off and get some extra MP? It really doesn't matter if you do or not because you're still going up here. It's like, but what if this isn't what
Alright.
the build I want
The
for my
hallway
fighter?
continues into your
All right,
level
I've got a
up system.
counterpoint to that one. As someone who just started playing 10,
Mm-hmm.
the sphere grid is really intimidating at first. You have no clue where you are, where you're going. Like, if you're experienced, you know generally like how you want to go into a build. But as someone starting out, I have no clue where I'm supposed to be going. So, like, I'd understand it for like the first layer, because like with the Crystarium, you had like basically levels, and ones would unlock as you got further along in the plot. If they kept it linear at the beginning, that'd be one thing. But you are right; they had it very straightforward, where you know you were gonna unlock everything. It was a question of when, and a lot of times you would branch off, and you would get like some abilities were hidden behind branches that cost a little more.
But you
but,
always
like, you
came
just-
back to the hallway.
Or you did what I did. You just grinded out till you had max EXP for that section
Yeah,
and
then you
unlocked
max
everything.
it, and then it's like, oh, you can get one of these other classes. Oh, cool. So like, it's about like the same amount of experience to like as the other ones, right? No, psych. These ones cost twice as much
But for a reason.
for a reason. But it's like at the same time, it's like Jesus, no, no. Like if you really
I
don't
don't
want me
want
to
it.
play like this class, if you really don't want me to play a Sentinel with lightning, all right, then just tell me, right? At least give me that,
No,
but
you
don't
gotta
like
work for
dangle
it,
this.
son.
I
this
mean, they do. They don't
candle.
let you do it until the post game.
Post game,
But-
but I want that like earlier though. I don't want it in the post game.
But see, you want it, but you're not supposed to have it.
I know, but I want it as a
But they
person
let
who
you have
loves
it because
Final
you
Fan-
want
but
it.
I don't want it post game. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't want
I
it
want it.
post game. Like that stuff you should be able to get before you beat the game, in my opinion.
All right. Well, that was one of the problems I had with Final Fantasy VII was that there wasn't enough uniqueness in the characters. Like, you had the limit breaks, but generally anyone could have any ability.
Anyone could have any
And-
ability, which is interesting how Magic worked in that game.
Yeah. But then you go back to, like, my personal favorite Final Fantasy is 4, where everyone has, like, very... Like, everyone has very distinct abilities or skill sets, and there's not a lot of overlap. Like, you'll occasionally have two people have healing skills, but generally you don't. So you have to have a lot of strategy knowing, like, I have X, Y, and Z character for this, like, segment of the game. Like, this is clearly, like, a magic focus group. I have to focus on this, or, oh, I have a bunch of bruisers in this section. But when you go and play a game where you have anyone can be anything, I feel like it kind of... you lose the uniqueness in the build for the sake of having the characters that you personally want to play with.
Fair.
And that was kind of why they let everyone be anything. But at the same time, I do appreciate they tried to give everyone kind of a focus. You would say, if you really need someone who's, tough, you might want Fang on your team because she's physical attacker, and she's got Sentinel unlocked right from the get-go.
Fair. I can agree with that.
I mean, I can understand that because so many other RPGs don't really let you swap people to do whatever they want. Like,
Yeah, or at least give you that
almost
option.
every other game is like built in, this is what this person should be doing, you idiot.
Yeah, I guess what
Yeah.
I should more clarify on is that I wanted more versatility among the classes, right? Like if I wanted to build my Sentinel a certain way, I feel like as the player I should have that option to do so. But I felt like
So like you weren't stuck picking a very specific character
yeah,
because they
and
were
like
the
I
only one who
have to
fit
play
role.
that because, and I understand like that might be what they were trying to aim for with the paradigm shifts, like how you can shift party members like seamlessly in battle, which was great.
I don't think you could switch members. It was just you could switch everyone's roles.
Oh no, I think it was no. Yeah, you were right. It was the roles. It was the roles
Yeah.
that you could switch. But yeah, like it was, you know, that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I remember towards the end game, I was like trying to find some like optimized builds. And everyone's like, "You gotta have hope on your team."
Yeah, you
And
have to have hope
hated-
on your team.
I hated having hope on my team because he has like the lowest health in the game.
But you had to have
And he's
him.
always-
He was like
You
essential.
had to have him 'cause he's the best healer in the game, and that was the part that was annoying to me.
He was very
A little
essential,
bit.
and
So
I hated
I
hope.
understand what you're saying.
I fucking
All
hate
right,
hope.
I can agree with you to a certain point, but I fully understand and accept why Square did what they did.
Fair. Me too. I can understand too, like to a certain degree. I just like I said, I'm just not like as a personal.
Like
thing.
it bothered you more than it bothered me.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was just more of a personal thing than it was from like just actual design standpoint.
Yeah. So
That ending though,
yeah, I was gonna say let's back into the story. So
that ending.
yeah, the ending. Like, all right. So as a fan of the game, I think the ending's a little bullshit, honestly.
Cool.
Especially 13-2.
All right.
How they.
We said we weren't going to talk about the sequels, but I'm about to pop off.
That's what I'm saying. Here we
Let's
go.
flash back to the
Here we go.
Flashing back to the month that 13-2 comes out. I give up Super Bowl weekend because I gotta beat this game, and I'm playing through it, and I'm like, oh man, fucking finally we're gonna get lightning back. It's gonna be great. This game's gonna be great. We're gonna have finally a solid ending that isn't as shitty as the first one. And then bam, they drop that Sarah dies for no reason at the end of 2 after that whole fucking boss fight about not dying. They drop that giant fucking to be continued on you with no announcement of a sequel.
Oh man, yep. That's
I
what it
don't
was.
think I've ever been so
That's what
mad
it was.
playing a video game than watching Square Enix dance around and say, hey, look at all the assets we reused from the first game to make one that's not as good as the last game. Oh, but wait. Look at this fucking ending and
Look at
pay us
this
$60 more for Lightning Returns.
Lightning Returns, ladies and gentlemen. And let's not forget how 13 ended, though. 13 ended, right? Everybody's happy. And then...
Oh, it ended with they tied up all the... Well, not all. Most of the loose ends, and everyone who
is happy.
Needed to ended up happy. It's Lightning, it's Sarah, it's Snow on the field. Everyone's together. Opening a 13-2.
Lightning's gone.
Retcon.
Yeah, retcon. Lightning's gone.
What happened? I don't remember who Lightning was.
And then they even point out, where did she go? She was literally right here. She just
Right here.
disappeared.
Look, her knife is right there. Look, as someone who loves 13, that got me mad.
Wow, we got up to
and I
loves
thought
13.
I thought
loves it.
I was going to get over it with 13-2, but because of that ending, I just can't.
What about
I can't do
13-3?
it. So I haven't beat 13-3
I never played
Whoa.
13-3.
because
I never.
13-3 follows the design issue that I absolutely want to like punch Square in the face for implementing. So 13-3 came out around the same time that Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance came out, and
Good game.
they had this whole idea that, oh man, people fucking loved was it Majora's Mask, where it's like you have to manage your time. So let's do something like that. So Dream Drop Distance comes out, and they're like, oh, everyone loves mobile game, and they only play for 5 minutes at a time. Let me make it so every 5 minutes you swap from one storyline to a different storyline, and you have to continue in 5 minutes, or you jump back to the last thing you were doing. Too bad if you don't remember what you're doing, you're in the middle of a fight, because that's going to restart. And this concept of having to sit there and micromanage the exact minute I'm doing something was infuriating. And then they go into 13-3, and they're like, yeah, you have 13 days till the world ends, and each day is 2 hours. Also, there's an event at 12 p.m. sharp. If you're not at this point in the game at 12 p.m. in time, you missed it.
Oh my god.
And you might not get to go back the next day for a rewind.
I was gonna
So
say,
you just sit there.
is there a thing like Majora's Mask where you can rewind?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, it's.
But you can
sort
only
of.
do it 13 times.
What?
And it starts off at 7, and you unlock more as the game goes on. But like I was on day 3 and I missed 2 events, and I was at the point where I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing at this point, and I'm running out of time. So I did not beat 13 because I don't like when Square time gates me inside my own game.
Especially when you know the games weren't really designed for that either.
Yeah.
Which is bad. Like Majora's Mask was designed around.
It was 100% designed for the fact that you are going to be going back a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas 13, it's almost like punishing. Like, oh, look at all the shit you didn't do today. Good luck trying to do it tomorrow because you're not going to be able to.
Actually, though.
Like, that's how the game felt playing.
And it makes you feel bad.
Wow.
The game, I imagine that game, I haven't played 13.3, like Lightning Returns. But I can only imagine it just makes you feel bad. Like, it punishes you for not doing the things you're supposed to do. It's not like Majora's
I feel so mad
Mask.
just talking about this game.
See, that's what I'm saying. Fuck 13 and its spawns. That's why I don't like 13.
No. Now that we're complaining about 13.2 and 13.3, I have already a newfound appreciation for the first game in that series.
Because it did some things right compared to these other ones. And I'm just...
The one thing, though, that they clearly tried to fix with 13.2 and 13.3, and it's probably the biggest outstanding issue I have with 13, is the lack of a memorable villain.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the name of the villain from 13?
Bartandalus.
Even Tim knows. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I beat 13.
All I know is he was that giant face.
I only know the name because I've rewatched Spoonie's videos because he doesn't do videos much anymore. So I've rewatched his old stuff like a dozen times.
Jeez.
But like, you go back to older Final Fantasies, the main villain's iconic. And even going forward, you go into Final Fantasy 15, you saw that like Square clearly realized like people need a easily recognizable villain that's somewhat likable to make a good villain. And then you get Arden Izunia, who's honestly is one of the cooler villains in a while.
Literally in one of Spoonie's videos, he's making fun of one of the he's like making fun of Bartandalus or something. Like, who cares about him?
No one gives a shit about him.
He's like, at least Kefka was a gibbering maniac who just wanted to burn the world down or something like that.
But he was cool.
Actually,
though,
he was cool.
Though, like,
so the thing about the villain for 13 is he's meant to be this like government figurehead. Like, he himself isn't unique, but it's what he's trying to do that's important, and he's just some guy doing it who happens to be a falsie.
Yeah, he is like one.
Yeah, he's a falsie. Yeah. He's one of the people trying to bring one of the original deities.
Doesn't he also turn into the giant clock monster?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's at the end.
He
like combines with Orphan to be the final boss.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but like what he's doing, like, it's not like, I can barely picture his face. I remember the face of the enemy because he's this giant, like, stone face that kind of looks like an airplane.
Yeah,
but
when
the
you
actual
first fight
character
him
himself, he's just unmemorable.
You know why? Because no one cares. No one actually cares. Well, there are people who do, but I don't.
But that's
you don't.
the thing. I cared when I was playing. I wanted to know what was this like driving force behind the villains, and I felt like I never got it because there wasn't this character I could picture saying like they are the enemy. It was more like, at the end of the game, you're doing your last invasion. You're like, the world is our enemy, and that was your thing. But it's really hard to just envision like all of Cocoon being your enemy. It's easier to have
this guy,
an actual antagonist,
right. A figurehead, or like a face to the actual enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's probably the one thing I really hated about the story of 13 is at the end I didn't feel like there wasn't a build up for this guy. Like, you fought him once before and he kind of ran away, licked his wounds.
I thought he had
fight
it
him
a
again.
bunch of times.
A few.
Yeah, I think
watching
there are two
Spoonie's
fights.
Yeah, he did it a few
whole
times.
bunch of times where he's like, "Hi, I'm here. Ah, you beat me. Run away. Hi, I'm here."
Like, there's always a
happens
boss
a
like
couple
that
times.
too. It also just so happened that he was also the final boss, like Seymour from 10, or Judge what's his face from 12. I forgot his name, but I know that he was just Balthier's dad, the leading man.
Yeah,
Balthier, the leading man. That game was funny because the main character wasn't actually the main character.
All right, I think we've covered 13 enough at this point because you guys have been
Hold
popping
on.
off for like a half hour.
Hold on. There is still one thing
There's
we're
one
clearly not talking
more
about.
One more
thing.
thing.
One more.
We still need to discuss the main cast of characters because we've talked about the story. We didn't talk about the
Hope
characters.
sucks.
This is pretty.
Lightning's just like another cloud, but I can't plan if she's better or not. Zaz is
The real argument I usually end up having people is about whether Snow is a good character or not. And everyone tells me they hate Snow and they think he's dumb.
I mean, he seems dumb.
But here's
and like
the
an
thing.
asshole.
He's this guy who
He's this
is the
guy.
leader of this like resistance that's fighting the government, and they're a ragtag
And they
group,
don't need
yeah,
plans, Freeman.
And
don't
he's a
forget.
little too optimistic. They don't need plans. They're gonna run and
don't need
everything's gonna work
plans.
out fine. And do you know why I like that character?
Because he punches.
Because he's Kamina from
I was
Gurren Lagann.
just
No.
about to say
No.
it.
Yes,
Yes,
that
he
is why
is.
He has
Snow
no
is a cool
fighting
He
character.
actually-
He has no
What?
Is this
Kamina.
headstrong
Yeah, he is.
leader
Snow
No,
is
he's
Kamina.
fighting
Snow is
spirit.
totally
not.
Kamina.
He's 100% Kamina,
He's
and that's
so
why I
not.
love Snow as a character.
I don't like him, but I agree
Kamina
with
has
you.
plans.
Kamina
No, he
does not have
doesn't.
Yes, he
plans.
does.
What are you
We're
saying?
gonna combine.
Yeah,
look,
he's like,
look,
I'm gonna
he-
put this smaller robot on top of this robot.
You
Yeah,
jam this
but that's
drill
still
in
an
my
idea.
head, and it's
Snow
gonna
is
work.
like, hey, I'm just gonna run up and punch things, and we don't need
That's a
plans
plan.
at all.
That's also kind of
Kamina
what Simon
forms
does.
the
Like he's like,
plan
we're gonna
to
charge in
steal the
there, and
biggest-
we're gonna fight.
Kamina's plan is almost always to steal the bigger mech, but that's still a plan.
It's
That's
a good
not.
plan.
No,
that's
I've
not a
watched-
plan. It's not a plan,
I
Tim.
didn't. Yes, it is. It's
I
a great
guess.
plan. Look, why would you need to ever build your own thing if you just keep stealing the bigger thing that they have?
But that's the thing that like he.
and
Like,
it works every freaking time.
but that's like what Snow
great.
does. Like Snow is like, well, we need to do this. Well, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, but he punches
do
things.
this. Yeah.
Like, get out of here.
And that's cool.
No, it's not.
Everyone else has like swords and shit, and he's punching
Freeman,
things.
when you have to read a data entry or whatever saying Snow's jacket is full of like filaments and superpowers so that he can punch robots without breaking his hand, that's retarded.
Look,
Damn.
this is Final
This
Fantasy.
is Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
You're
it's-
absolutely right.
And this is why I've never played a Final Fantasy game.
This is why you need to go play one. What are you talking about?
Because I can just
Yeah,
watch
right.
Gurren Lagann and that's better.
Damn! Wow, you hear that? See,
Okay, look,
this is
that's a
this
whole.
is where
Look, you're right, but still,
the A and T of the podcast just turns on the first T, and
Oh my god, no. Look, I can't.
you're
I've
great for
seen,
episode 3, 13 versus
no,
Gurren Lagann.
Okay, well, I think
It's gonna lose.
look,
but,
everybody
it's
will
gonna
say
lose.
that Gurren's better.
I mean,
who the hell's
I
gonna say-
personally, I would.
Wait, no.
I mean, I'd
say it.
personally rewatch Gurren over playing 13.
yeah, no, you're right.
That doesn't.
Gurren
Okay,
is better.
let's say you could compress yourself, like compress the time it took, and it would take the same amount of time.
No, I would still watch Gurren.
Thank you.
That's not what
I
we're
don't know, most
arguing,
anime
though.
are
That's
better
not
than
what we're
Final Fantasy
saying.
13, but yeah, that's not the point.
It's
Point
it's
is
not the point.
Whether
Gurren's
Snow is a
better.
likable character.
We're saying
or not.
Snow is
because
Snow is
I know.
Kamina.
I get that. It's not true because I've
It's
watched,
not true.
I told you. I watched Spoonie's reviews a whole bunch of times, and all I can think is Snow is such an idiot and such an ass.
Well, dude, Hope is just like
No.
Simone during his depressed
Oh
segment.
my
Yeah,
god!
but Hope
well,
is
that's
worse.
terrible.
But Hope is
That's
worse
so
though.
boring.
But like, see,
Yeah, dude, Hope. He was like the thing is he's the best part of 13-2, but he's terrible in 13-1.
yeah, like
Isn't he
he.
like a Time Lord in 13-2 or some nonsense?
No, he's a time traveler.
Yeah.
He's like the only thing that's consistent
Oh
for
my
you in
God,
every like
that's
world you
so
go to, which
dumb.
is cool. He was like your anchor to the game's plot. I like that. But in 13-1, he's just like, it's understandable his mom died. He's upset, but he's like just a little bit too whiny.
He is.
And but like hold up. So there's this whole arc about going to Snow's dad's house and he's pissed his dad's gonna be mad. Except you get there and his dad's like the most understanding, nicest guy in the world.
You mean Hope's dad? I thought it was Hope's dad.
What did I say?
said
Snow.
Snow's
Oh,
dad.
sorry, I meant Hope, not
Yeah,
Snow.
Hope's dad.
Yeah, no, Snow doesn't have a dad. Hope's dad. He's like this nice, understanding guy, and I don't understand what the deal was with that plot line. Like, were they trying to be like, oh, now he's understanding because this like tragedy
Oh
happened?
yeah,
or
is
is
it
it
like food and everything and the town?
I mean, he gives them like shelter until the military comes to blow up their house,
and
but
Snow does the thing
like-
where he puts his coat outside and then they just shoot his coat while his arm's there. Yeah, I've seen that cutscene a bunch of times.
look, it was cool.
Look,
at
it's
the time.
not cool.
It
It's
was.
so
At the
dumb. He
time.
just holds his coat out and they just shoot it a
It's
thousand
kinda
times.
dumb.
It's like, I guess that.
It's
like,
kind of
kinda
dumb.
cool.
someone shoot his hand, please. How do you not hit his hand?
For the record, I feel like I
Because-
should say, like, I wasn't the like biggest fan of Snow, but I didn't hate Snow. But I do have to say Kamina is better than Snow. Even though Snow is Kamina,
but they are the same kind of
they're
character.
the same kind of character. That's what I
fine,
should
but you can't-
say. I should clarify.
But that doesn't mean much because there's so many similar characters and so many things.
But they're very
But like,
similar, though.
I've had this argument with people who love Gurn and they love Kamina and they say Snow's a dumb character.
Yeah, well, there you
But-
go. I'm in that
But
camp
he's
too.
not. He's the same.
No, he's not. He's such a loser.
Damn. I mean,
Wow,
Hope
okay.
sucks,
Look,
though.
Snow has no fighting spirit.
He has a lot.
He has
He
no
does.
fighting
He
spirit.
has a lot of fighting. To just
He's like,
punch
heroes
things.
don't need plans.
He's totally Kamina. He's putting on this routine to inspire others.
Yeah.
Is he though?
That's
What?
Kamina.
That is Snow. That is Snow
Yeah, but
from the get-go. In fact,
when Kamina's not acting in front of everybody, he gets like quiet, but serious. And Snow's just like either mopey and freaking out, or like, look at how tough and strong I am.
well, yeah.
Like that's half the same. But Kamina was actually like, oh guys,
But it's close enough.
guy,
It's
I'm
just
putting on-
close enough. Like, the character
I'm
is
putting
just
on a
close
show.
enough.
Yeah, it's like 90% of the way there, but the 10% is like, wow, look at how great Kamina is, what a loser Snow is.
Damn, I don't think you lose.
Sarah.
All right, listen.
Sarah.
Can I ask you something? Does
Sarah!
Kamina have, like... Can he summon, like, 2 sexy women that just turn into a motorcycle? I don't think he does.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
the
I don't
summons.
think he does. I don't think that stacks up. Granted, Kamina has, like, a cool robot, but he doesn't have the sexy motorcycle.
Oh my god. Yeah, he's just got the. He just
Take
has
that.
literally the strongest robot in the universe.
Well, technically he
Alright,
doesn't
alright,
because
so-
he dies. Spoiler.
Oh my god.
Spoiler.
All right, so moving
spoiler.
away
Like,
from
actually,
the
though-
moving away from the Snow Kamina discussion, I got like 2 more characters I want to talk about before we go overtime on this. But were you able to stand Vanille's accent, or did it bother you too much? Like the fake Australian.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I was indifferent,
You were indifferent.
but I know this is like game
It
breaking.
didn't.
For some people. They
No,
couldn't
it
stand
didn't gain.
'cause
It didn't break it.
she's
I just.
essentially the narrator.
I was just like, I'm not like I noticed it. It was enough for me to notice it, right? But it wasn't enough for me to be like, this ruins my like experience more than the
Yeah.
game already has. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Yeah, Vanille's was like.
I don't know. The rest of the
whatever.
characters, I don't know. Vanille was okay. Fang was definitely better in terms of the 2 of them, but
Fang was cool.
I
I
don't know,
liked
going-
Fang.
going back, Saz was definitely probably the coolest member of the team. He was started off as like the most realistic
He
character.
had the most
at least.
disgusting hair.
Because he had an
Because there's
afro.
a chocobo living in there.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell would ever do
Yeah,
that.
no, he's a little weird. Zaz's a little weird.
Oh my god, I keep going back to Spoonie's reviews, but that's because that's the only thing I know about the game. But seeing in there's a thing where it says if you speak the name of the chocobo, it might do nothing, or it might like destroy the whole universe. It says that in a log.
Oh, one of the flavor texts. Yeah,
Yeah, the flavor
It's the
text.
stupidest thing.
it's mysterious.
So mysterious. Once again, writing 101.
So stupid.
The writers in 13 didn't know what the hell they were doing.
They honestly didn't.
Oh my god. All right, we have to stop. This is
Last point.
We were supposed
Last
to talk
point.
about how much I hated 8 and its
Last point.
system.
look, this is Final Fantasy 13. We can't go into. We'll have another Final.
We'll
Fantasy.
have another Final Fantasy
We'll have
discussion
a
discussing
general,
other
not
ones.
next week, but
Because
we'll have a general.
Final Fantasy
one.
15 is Entourage and 8 sucks. All right, there, boom. That's all I wanted to say anyway. It's literally all I wanted to say. I said
It's like
my
Entourage.
piece.
It's
But
like
it
Entourage.
is. But it
It
is. I
actually
just
is.
want to get this for posterity. Before his like last point, 4 dudes in a black top down. One of them super rich. The other 3 are just kind of loafers. They travel around the world just doing shenanigans. Entourage.
Basically.
It's freaking
All right, Fabian,
Entourage.
Finish your last point, and then we'll move on.
The
to
only
Q&A.
character I didn't ask you about, and the actual most important one for this entire goddamn series, was Lightning a good character?
That's an important question.
I'm curious what you think. Because she is the main character of this whole trilogy. As much as I hate saying that word.
As far, alright, I'm gonna answer this in 13, because I feel
Yeah.
like I'm not, because I didn't play Lightning Returns.
Yeah, no. Pretend 2 and 3 don't exist. Like, just
Okay,
within the scope
alright,
of 13
alright.
only.
I
What'd you
feel
think?
like she didn't have enough depth to her as a character. It's almost like she, to me, from what I can remember, is that she didn't really change a lot. You know,
She beat up Snow a lot.
she beat up
Like she
Snow.
ends off exactly the way she starts.
Yeah, like she didn't
She
have
has no
any
character arc.
revelation. Yeah, like she didn't have much going on for other than like she wanted to find her sister. Right,
Basically.
and like that was it. And she doesn't learn any kind of lesson like most of the other characters do. Like they mostly have like something going on, like Zaz, right? He has a thing with his son. Hope has a thing with his dad, right? And even Snow has the same objective as Lightning. You see him go through ups and downs throughout the entire game, but like Lightning, she almost kind of like she stays the same, right? And it's like they wanted to make her like a Cloud, right? But even Cloud, he had some depth to him. Like he changed throughout 7, and even in Advent Children, like he changed as a person. Like he went from a person who was super confident in what he did to, oh man, my existence is completely fabricated, to like, you know, accepting.
Like whatever he was in Advent
Yeah,
Children.
and then finally acceptance. Like he accepted who he was as a person, and then he like decided to carry on from there.
Yeah,
Lightning,
it seems like Lightning is just, I want my sister.
that's it.
It's
I'm
kind of an
angry.
extension of the whole copying Cloud problem. Was that like you go back and you play Final Fantasy VII, Cloud is not this like brooding, silent character that everyone thinks he is because of how he's portrayed now. Like in actual 7, he's like a pretty active, outspoken guy until he has his whole like revelation of my past is a lie.
Yeah.
And even then, he comes back from it, and he's still generally like going to the finale. He's not sitting there depressed. He's kind of upbeat and kind of like we have to do this. We have to. He has his character motivations, and Advent Children showed him in this more kind of depressed view. And then you go into 13, and they're like, yeah, let's have Lightning just like that, brooding for arbitrary reasons. And hers was just, she was a soldier, and she's very serious because of
It's
that.
like someone
but
had a bad memory of what Cloud was, and they made that into a character.
kind of.
Yeah.
They took like all the bad parts that they think the fans really love, and they exaggerated it into Lightning's character.
All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna stop.
We're gonna stop.
We're gonna
Fair.
stop.
We've gone too far.
But we're gonna try to answer, like, take 5 minutes and answer a few. Like, we had a few minor questions.
Oh yeah.
On last week's episode 0. And I'm gonna pull some of these up, and by some of these I mean there was like 2 decent, literally like 3 questions that are actually, and only 2 of them are any good. Really quickly, Cumin of, oh, I don't even know. Cumin said,
Pronouncing.
huh?
No, just like, how do you pronounce this?
I don't know. Cumin said, why haven't I put D&D stuff on my channel? 'Cause that's a lot of work, setting up a camera and all this other nonsense to try to
filming
film
people
our.
and
If
editing.
I was trying to film our thing, and
Yeah, it's a lot of
of the
work.
time. A lot of time we get off topic and we kind of just
BS.
most of our D&D time we just kind of chat and waste time. We really don't get that much done, and we don't follow the rules very well.
Oh man,
So
if
it's
we could post that one video you posted, that animation of D&D, I forgot who it was, but it was like,
the
is the
super
food
duper old
done?
one.
Yeah. That explains our group.
Where are the Cheetos?
Yeah, like that's our group dynamic.
Anyone listening who wants to see real good D&D content that's like 20 years old from the beginning of the internet, it's one of the first things I remember ever seeing. Search Dead Ale Wives Watchtower or D&D. It's a stupid name, but it's a stupid animation that's hilarious.
Yeah, we don't follow the rules or anything.
I attack the darkness.
Attack the darkness.
Are there any girls
hold
there?
on. I got to interrupt this real quick. You guys have seen the video History of Japan,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
He just put out a new one. I saw it on my
He
phone.
just released History of the Entire World. I got to watch it.
I'm going to watch it when
man.
we're
Just
done,
gotta
too.
interrupt.
I actually saw it on my phone while you guys were talking. All right, so here's the second best question and then the bestest question. Is Magic a pay-to-win game? No. Easy answer.
It's pay to play. It's not pay to
It
win.
really is.
Like, the most expensive deck in the format is not a guaranteed win. You're more likely to lose with that deck.
There's
than
no
you are to win.
guarantee wins anywhere, and the metas are just too diverse. It's pay to play well. It's pay to have a chance, but you're never going to win off of just spending money. Like, there are people who've bought Black Lotuses, and they play...
If you have one, doesn't mean you're going to win that vintage tournament.
Listen,
get-
money
get
does not
welcome
equate
being the only person
skill,
vintage.
just like Kaiba.
still loses
still
to Yugi's
uses
grandpa's
to
deck.
Yugi's grandpa's deck.
Yeah, see? Exodia. I mean, that card's not expensive, but it just obliterates everything, and all the blue eyes can't handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, now here's a real good question. What do you think of the... Oh, that was a Trumperer, and now this is simply misunderstood. What do you think of the common idea of light and dark magic and it always coming with a price? So I'm assuming that means both how magic always kind of takes something from you when you use it, but also, in my mind, that also means especially dark magic has like an actual price, like blood magic and Dragon Age, that kind of thing. I think it makes sense because, like, where does magic come from? If you think of magic as energy is not created or lost. Some of the coolest magics in books and things like that are the types of magic where it's not you just summon something, but it's you manipulate the world around you.
Yeah.
There's a series by one of my favorite authors called Ari Marmel, who wrote one of the only Magic the Gathering book I've read. He wrote a Darksiders book that's really cool. Tyler, you should read that if you haven't.
Probably should. I got too many books on the back burner, but I will add it to the list.
We all do these days since we all started talking about books. But it's one book. It's called The Abomination Vault, and it's about death and war hanging out and chilling.
Huh.
And they're badass. It's actually part of why the second game is disappointing to me, because the death in the book is so fucking cool. But he has started writing a series called the Mick Oberon series, where it's kind of like the Dresden Files, but it's basically a fae who lives in like gangster era Chicago. But magic isn't really magic. He basically has mind powers, and he plays with what he calls luck to basically suck energy and probability out of things and turn it into his benefit.
Huh.
And that kind of magic is super cool because it is a price. You're pulling things out of, like, he talks about how he breaks into an apartment that has a strong lock, and the wood on the door gets weaker because he has to suck probability out of the door, and the door has less time before it breaks now. Like,
that's interesting.
I like magic that comes with a price. Mana in video games is obviously a really good way to do it. But even above and beyond that, like blood magic, or like when you see people get like corrupted by their magic and things like that. I like the thought that magic isn't just a total cheat, because magic's already overpowered.
Yeah, I like how they do it in Full Metal Alchemist. Like, they advertise it more as science.
Oh yeah,
but like
Full Metal Alchemist, that's a great example.
Yeah, like everything comes with a price, and they drive that point home literally in the first episode. That is the key
of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you don't have an arm anymore because magic has a price, dude. Want.
And it's not even what he got.
Yeah,
It's not even what he wanted either, which is like, which was great because
you have a high price for shit.
I have a high price for shit, and and from that it snowballs like to just anyone. It's like, okay, like if you want to use this great power, you have to learn to respect it and do all these other things before you can even do the basics.
Like, do it correctly. I was going to use FMA as a good example just for this light and dark concept. But you look at the, what's the guy, Show Tucker, the guy who performs alchemy on people and animals. And, like, so you go in and you go, that is clearly, like, evil alchemy. But the thing about it wasn't anything it particularly did, but it was more about, what the cost to it was.
Yeah.
He was combining two things, but he combined life.
Daddy.
And it was,
Daddy.
It was both
Big Brother.
It was
so
both the gravity and the morality that makes us say, that was evil. So I don't know, dark magic. It has a lot to do with cost and effect, what you're trying to get out of it, and a lot of the way dark magic is portrayed a lot is there's this huge cost to it because you're getting this disproportionate effect. And, a lot of times it's forbidden. And it's usually because, they don't want people going off left and right, sacrificing people for the sake of this dark magic.
Yeah.
So
especially when it turns out to be like a shit deal. Especially.
Yeah. Especially in the case of FMA.
Especially.
Yeah, exactly. What does it take to make one of those gems? Oh, you only have to sacrifice like 1,000 people.
City. You just have to sacrifice a city.
Oh, and then you gotta do it again later to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, and then it still doesn't work how you want it to. By the end, it's like, oh, even these kind of suck.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been going for a while. Let's call it. Let's start wrapping up. Let's talk about what's happening this week. Freeman, why don't you go first?
So I'm probably gonna be saying this the next couple weeks, but I am still playing Persona 5.
Yeah.
This game is great.
That's okay.
I've never had a game make me feel like such a piece of shit before.
Even gaming podcasts I've been listening to every week for the past few weeks have been like, still playing Persona.
It is a long game.
All right,
And
keep going.
I'm excited. I was waiting a while for this, but I'll probably play through that. At some point, I do plan on reading the first book in Dresden Files, but
Yeah.
I'm honestly struggling to find time in my schedule.
slowly
I was telling
corrupting
Tyler
you.
before that I spend all week stressing about managing my time and figure out when am I going to have time to do any of this stuff. And then I finally find a chance to play Persona 5, and bam, Persona 5 is a game about managing your time. So I can't escape it,
That's
but I'm
amazing.
trying to squeeze the stuff in there.
That's fantastic. Anything else? Movies, shows?
I still haven't watched Attack on Titan this week. Apparently it was really good, so I got to watch that. I am trying to squeeze in a trip to see Guardians 2 at some
Yeah,
point,
boy.
because I do want to see that. I'm not the biggest Marvel fan, but I really like Guardians 1. So definitely got to check that out.
Cool. Tyler?
So I update on last week. I did beat Horizon Zero Dawn,
Nice.
and I loved it. And I was telling Freeman earlier, like the ending was like super meh, but then like the very last bit had me going.
Nice.
So I'm hyped. But then I was like, okay, maybe it's time for me to move on to something else. So I bought Outlast 2 last night. And man, I'm only an hour in, and I was making fun of it. I'm not making fun of it anymore. And I'm not one to get like scared easy, especially in real life. I'm like, nothing really scares me. And like I'm pretty confident in saying that. But man, this game makes me uncomfortable, like playing it in the best way. Like, it's the reason why I got the game in the first place, obviously. And I was almost like, oh man, I wasn't expecting this kind of uncomfortableness, and I'm looking forward to keep playing it and seeing how more uncomfortable it gets me.
Nice.
And yeah, aside from that, I got nothing really else going on. Like, I do want to see Guardians 2 at some point. Yeah, like, obviously tagging that on the list. I need to find people to see it with. Maybe Freeman. I don't know, at some point.
Oh, I'm down to go.
Yeah, we have to.
I thought you and Leslie were going to go.
Well, she's gonna go with her mom.
I
mean,
I thought that
she's
was
probably gonna. She said like I probably wouldn't have a problem going again, so I think she is gonna go with me at some point.
I'd be willing to drive out to go see with you guys.
Yeah, man. So maybe this
You
weekend.
two are, if Leslie went with her mom, you two be the only ones because Luigi's never going to watch it, and me and Val saw it. So
Man, Luigi.
yeah, we'll have him on the podcast someday, and we'll just roast him alive. It'll be great.
We should, because
man.
it'll be like every Thursday where we roast him for no.
Yeah,
Which
really.
listeners, it's hilarious because Luigi is one of the nicest people I've ever met.
He really
Ever.
is.
We just
He's a
roast
super
the
nice
shit
guy.
out of him.
Oh, dude, I love this.
Is he, like, never-
Once we got you guys back in the circle, like Leslie was roasting me a bit until Luigi did like one thing, and then
all it
bam,
took was
he was
one
All it
shot.
took
It's
was
already
one
shifted
to him.
off.
It's been that way for like 6 months
Already
now.
took
I
the
love
heat
it.
off.
Oh man, it's great. Luigi's a good person. He's a good person. He has
No,
Oh, he's a
we
great
have
guy.
fun in our group,
yeah.
and we just kind of rip into each. We're like the Guardians, where we're all just assholes, and we all just make fun of each other, and it's fun.
It's a good time.
But we're a family underneath.
We're a
And that's
family.
Not a spoiler.
Yeah, when we break out the F word though, during like in game and during D&D, oh man, I cry.
Oh,
Just
like
in game, you know, and out of game. When I messaged you guys the other day, I was like, oh man, I've known you guys
you were
for like
pretty
a
hyped.
year. Oh man,
Yeah, it was the 1 year anniversary of you joining the Squadarino.
Squadarino.
It's almost the name of the podcast, but
The
Squadarino.
Squadarino.
no,
Jeez.
just the squad or something related to
Oh.
the squad, but
The Squadcast.
it's something like that. But there's already something
There's
that
totally
exists. I'm like, I
something
don't want to do
Squadcast.
it.
Probably.
I don't know.
There's no way
This
it doesn't
one,
already exist.
our title is rubbed off on me at least. It's rubbed off on me.
TNT.
Yeah.
I like it.
As long as you pronounce it right,
Yeah.
it's great.
I mean, listen, it was the pun or nothing.
Well, no, I
Yeah,
like it.
I like it,
It was,
too.
hey guys, we're gonna record episode 0 tomorrow. I thought of a name while I was falling asleep. Are we gonna do it? Yes? No? Okay, I made the title card. Let's go.
It's fine. We've instantiated, like we've said the name
It's TNT.
multiple times. Yeah.
It doesn't read TNT, but you know what?
Yeah, we're not.
I'm not going to be like,
Tea
it's
and
the
Tie
Tie
cast.
and Tea podcast. Tie and
Yeah.
Shut up. No, it's
Shut up,
TNT.
man.
It's TNT.
It's just funny. It's the pun. But anyway, my week. Like I said, saw Guardians 2 yesterday. I don't want to get into it. Maybe we'll do next week, if you guys both see it, we'll do like a spoiler section at the end.
Would be nice.
Where we say, turn off the podcast now if you haven't seen it.
Mm.
But that movie's really funny and a really good time. Don't go in expecting for just the first movie. I remember hearing a lot of the reviews say this is much more of a character, small-scale movie, and those were not wrong.
Okay.
But it is still very good and very funny. Thank God people. I said to my coworker earlier. I think I said to Freeman actually or somebody like, thank God I wasn't alone in the theater because it would have just been me laughing at an empty theater. Like it was nice to have other people laughing hysterically in the theater around me. And there were some great moments where like something kind of funny would happen and you'd kind of snort, but someone in the front row thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Oh, like the one person's laughing way too hard.
Oh my God! You guys need to go see a movie with Ed in theaters because I actually.
I bet that's an experience.
So super quick tangent. Years and years ago, me, my dad, and Ed, and maybe my brother went to see some movie. It was like James Bond or something. Years ago, and there was a scene that there was kind of just like a quick camera cut or someone moved quickly or something or someone jumped into frame or something and it was like, oh, that was kind of surprising, but no one reacted. And it was totally silent in the theater and everyone just hears and that was Ed just freaking out like in pure shock as this person reacted too quickly for him.
Holy shit.
Like,
oh man.
It was like, oh my God, Ed.
That's beautiful.
And then I just wanted to sink into my chair and die. I'm like, no, he's not next to me. No, don't look at me. But saw Guardians. Probably not seeing any movies anytime soon. I remembered yesterday, though, that I wanted to see Kong and never got to, so maybe I'll try to get a copy of that somehow. Although it's probably going to be on Netflix soon, so...
It was a solid movie. At least me and Leslie thought it was solid.
I mean,
I haven't seen it yet.
I want to see it just because I said 1,000 times
right.
Godzilla vs. King Kong is all I care about, so I got to see it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's,
I still got to watch the new Godzilla, though.
I have the Blu-ray.
Shin
I'm gonna
Godzilla.
put it, Shin? I haven't watched Shin.
Not the U.S. one, the Japanese
I
one.
haven't watched it yet. I don't really care. I mean, don't get me wrong, Godzilla is sick, and thank God he's at the Japanese one, but I actually really liked the American movie.
Oh, it wasn't bad. I just want to see the Japanese one.
No, I hear you. I want to see it, but I keep
Evangelion
forgetting
director
about
did
it. Anyway, games. I'm still playing Dragon Age Origins. I finally finished the really, really long Jedi Academy mod I was playing for YouTube. Man, that thing was...
that went on forever,
Saturday,
dude.
It was infuriating watching you struggle with that.
Last Saturday, I did the 2.5-hour live stream. Still wasn't done. Did an hour and a half this week, right before... Jeez, it was like right before we hung out on, what was it, Tuesday?
Thursday?
Sunday?
Monday? No,
Monday.
No.
The other day?
Freeman, I remember you...
Oh, yeah, it was on Monday when you guys played Leslie's game.
Yeah. No, there was... I was still streaming on Saturday. That's what it
Oh,
was.
no, it was on Saturday when I came to play Magic.
You came over to play
Magic,
and it's like... I get a knock on my door, and it's like, hey, Freeman's here. And it's like, oh, crap, I got to finish Jedi.
I got to finish Jedi Academy.
But yeah, that's finally done. I did just get a message while we were talking on Skype from a mod maker about a very exciting mod for Sins of a Solar Empire that I'm going to do a video with him hopefully this weekend. But as far as Let's Plays, since Jedi Academy's done and I finished Tomb Raider, I think I'm going to do a Command & Conquer mod.
Oh.
Because a lot of people have been clamoring for those ever since those actually turned into like the second most popular thing on the channel was the Generals mods I've done a few times.
Oh man, Generals! I haven't played that game in forever.
That game's still great, and I actually just while we were talking also installed a mod that I have not played yet that someone recommended on the live stream on Saturday. So, and the other game in the open world theme of Tomb Raider, well, not really anymore, but way back when I first started doing Let's Plays seriously, I started doing a game called Saboteur for the 360.
Oh man, that game.
And I stopped after one recording session because I had I just got distracted or something else. But I just saw it on GOG for $5 So I scooped it up, and I'm gonna start that Let's Play in the near future because that game was I kind of want to play an open world game, and that game was super fun because that theme of occupied France in World War II was super cool, and the black and white and artsy thing. So it was gonna be Dishonored 2, and then Dishonored 2 won't go on sale because they hate me. So
Is it still full price?
oh yeah,
Holy cow, dude!
are you kidding me? It's only been a few months.
That's crazy. What? Wait, has it only been?
Wait, when did it come out?
Only a few months ago. Dishonored 2.
Let's all Google it at the same time.
I'm going on Steam actually.
Yeah, I'm going on Steam too. Holy cow!
There it is, $60 right there. Dishonored 2.
Dude, I don't know, man. It's been like 6 months.
When did it come out? Okay, I don't believe you
Like
guys.
6 months
November
ago tomorrow.
11th. Wow.
Yep, long. Yeah, November 11th,
Alright, so-
2016.
Yeah.
Well, no, but it's fine because that
Oh,
means
this game. Oh, man. The trailers look hyped for this.
that
I want
means-
to play this
that
game.
means during the summer sale in like a month or two,
Soon.
it should be at least 50% off.
Soon, baby.
And if it does that, then I will definitely scoop it up. But yeah, that's what's coming up for me. And reading, frickin' finished Witcher, and my girlfriend and sister were begging me to read this Throne of Glass series.
Throne of Glass.
So I'm
Oh,
on
man.
book 2 now.
You sound very excited.
It's not bad, but it's honestly, considering it's supposed to be a young adult series, it's actually pretty good. But I don't know. I miss reading a new Star Wars book all the time. Like it hits me every now and then how I haven't read a new Star Wars book and never will again. And there was a time in my life in high school where I would go to Borders like once a month or once every other month and pick out
and just
3
find
more,
new books.
or go on Amazon and buy 3 more paperback Star Wars books. Actually, I remember for like 3 or 4 years in a row, I took the opportunity at Christmas to ask my parents for a few more. And that went on for like 3 or 4 years in a row. And never again.
Never again.
No more Star Wars for me.
It's a shame.
Anyway, we're going to end the podcast here. We've been going for right around 2 hours again.
Whew.
Seems to be right about when we'll try to aim to finish this.
Yeah, it's the theme certainly went on even longer than I thought this time.
Yeah, I thought we were going to cover other things within that theme.
Oh, I had more to
Yeah.
talk about.
Oh
Same.
God.
I also had more things to talk about. But yeah, we can...
Oh my God.
This was just 13, but we got more to talk about the rest
We
of
can
the
go
whole
into Final
series.
Fantasy. I mean, I'll take that opportunity to be like, hey guys, I played Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, which is the Western ripoff of Final Fantasy that is Lord of the Rings related. That's why I care.
See, it's because Tim's not full weeb like we are. Well, no. I'm like...
not enough.
I'm like a 6 out of 10 weeb, maybe.
Yeah, you're like a 6 out of 10. Freeman's a 9 out of 10.
Like it's over 9,000.
Yeah.
Over power levels. Just,
I'm at
jeez.
like 3 because I've
Scout is
watched
exploding.
Gurren and a few animes a little bit, but
And we'll see if we can change that.
Hell yeah. I'm totally about that.
dude, I watched Gurren. It's fine.
Nope.
I don't need anime.
Nope, you
episodes.
still
you need to go
You
deeper.
need to
I don't
go
need to
way
go any-
deeper.
I watched all DBZ. I'm waiting for Super to come
That's
out. and dub.
absolutely
No, you
nothing.
don't.
I don't
That's
care.
surface
I
level.
know. That's where 3 out of 10 sits. Surface level.
We need to go
Deeper.
deeper.
We need to take you to like Paranoia Agent
Full weeb.
or like
Serial experiments lane.
Yes.
Oh my God. All right. Podcast is over. Thank you all for listening to the TNT podcast.
yep, see you later.
We'll see
All
you
right,
next
see you guys
week.
next week.
Yep.
Hopefully I edit this in time.